Hello and welcome to unMadeGaming, guys. It is Sunday and we are back with episode 2 of Symbaroum. We had a week off. These players killed a nasty undead. Sweetie infected someone with skin-crawling bugs that made her uncomfortable in her chair. So I can't wait for more gross things to happen today and carry that on. So let's go around and meet our cast and crew for the grimdark fantasy that is Symbaroum. We'll start with Captain Beardo, Dread Gazebo, a.k.a. Kyle. Who are you? What are you doing? And what that mustache do?
That mustache do either a Mario or Burt Reynolds impression.
It's a me, Kylo.
It's a me, Kyle. Yeah, I'm playing Jhin Harengol, the grandson of Marshal Harengol, and the all-around douchebag that we all know and love. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I do things with you that sometimes are appropriate and game-related.
And other times, questionable. Someone else who does questionable things on stream and off stream. That could go to anybody. Miss Ginger Ninja, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing tonight?
I thought that was going to Sweetie for sure. Hey guys, it's Xmas Ginger Ninja here, back for another game. I'm real tired. Let's get into this game.
Sweet. Who are you playing?
I don't remember my character's name. Hold on.
Nem?
It's Nem.
Nailed it.
Hold on. Do you want me to read her full name?
Okay.
Sylvanus Nemenstrius Flora.
Nailed it, I hope.
Yeah, that's her name.
And who
Nem,
is
for sure.
and who is she?
She's kind of a badass, but she's the cute little quiet one of the group. She's the Dr. Woodsy type.
She's Dr.
Who's
Quinn
hopefully
Medicine.
who's hopefully gonna make sure everyone doesn't die as quickly.
Sweet. In game, just like in real life, a man of many words. Mr. Bitters, who are you? What are you doing here, and who are you playing today?
I think you've forgotten everything. You don't have frags to confuse with me, and you just don't know who
I
I
just
am
make
anymore.
up who you're playing now
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Bitters. I hate everything. I moderate around here, sorta, not really. Today I play Shale. He's a goddamn ogre, so he doesn't have a whole lot to say, but he can say a whole lot of things.
That's true. Both of those are true. And you work directly for and with Miss Hello Sweetie over there. So, Hello Sweetie, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing tonight?
Hi, I'm Hello Sweetie 82. I do weird things on the internet, and today I am playing Mahdga. She is a barbarian witch who lives in the woods with her pet ogre, Shale.
Or at least she did.
So, yes. Now she's traveling with these weirdos and putting bugs in people's skin.
Yeah. I mean, she might have put the bugs in people's skins before, but now she's doing it, like, multiple times in a day.
And with an audience.
Yeah. So now other people can see how gross you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I like it that way.
So, without further ado, previously on the Chronicles of the Copper Crown. 4 strangers gathered around a campfire as the sun set beyond the trees, each traveling far from home, towards the growing hub of knowledge and adventure that was Thistle Hold. Mahdga the witch and her bodyguard Shale, seeking the Ordo Magica, Nem the barbarian, seeking to further her knowledge of medicines, and Sir Jhin Harengol, seeking to prove himself. As they traveled the arduous path from New Berendoria to Thistle Hold, disaster struck. A sneak thief rummaged through the travelers' bags and happened upon a small treasure, a stone with a gentle glow to it and a slight warmth. Sure of its value, the thief slunk away into the night. Immediately sensing the item was missing the following morning, Nem furiously went to the task of finding and tracking the thief, sweeping Mahdga, Shale, and Jhin along with her. Arriving at a small tower, the coward was easily bested and defeated, but not before he was able to contact his allies. Before them stood a gruesome sight, the corrupt, snarling, gangrenous visage of Mal Rogan, an undead bandit. What ensued was a fight to the death, with Nem and her new allies barely making it out alive. You guys stand around the corpses of several bandits. You have one of them strung up to the back of Jhin Harengol's horse. You have another one slung over the ass of the horse. You have a rotting, disgusting, beheaded corpse oozing ichor as you see like the skin is like peeling from where the blade hit it. You see on its neck is a cord of rope, and hanging from that is a rotten, gangrenous, just blackened hand. And you see that like ooze and ichor oozes out from the right arm of the undead that you guys had killed. What are you doing?
I would be going amongst the dead, making sure they're all actually dead.
They are all dead. You take a few minutes to go around and you kind of poke at each one. You have a pole arm, right? You have a glaive. You start to jab at each one of them, and none of them move except for the one strapped to your horse, who you probably poke for good measure, and the one on the top of your horse.
Are they all unconscious currently?
No, you killed
The
them.
ones that are... No, I mean the ones that that I've subdued.
No. So you have subdued one. You basically tied it by his hands to the back of your horse and then dragged him out of the forest. The other one you had brought down from the top of the tower and he was unconscious. Now it's been a few minutes. He's just slung over hogtied to the back of your horse.
Cool. Can I drag them into the field and kind of put them on their knees?
Sure.
Cool.
What are the rest of you doing?
I think Shale took a lot of hits. He's bleeding from multiple wounds, and he's probably trying to get just a crossbow bolt that got him just out of reach in his back.
With your big giant arms?
Yeah.
Trying to get that one spot?
Yeah, it's just I'm so swole I can't quite reach it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll walk up and kind of reach up on my tippy toes and just pull it out super fast. Like a Band-Aid. And then I'm gonna ask Shale if he wants to help me search some of these bodies to see if there's anything on them that we might want.
Sure. And Miss Nem, what are you doing?
Nem would also help search the bodies. She's rubbing the stone that she now has back and puts it in her bag.
Cool.
Just to make sure, like, it back in her pack so she can feel it warm against her back to know it's there.
Yep.
And then help loot.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can easily loot these bodies, and we'll just quickly go through that. There are several crossbows, several daggers. So, Jhin, you would find, I guess you would have already disarmed Keller, the one strapped on your horse. He had a crossbow and a couple daggers. The remaining ones that you guys have around you, you have Malrogan, the undead, and you have 4 robbers. The robbers all have crossbows and spears. You guys can take those if you'd like. And each one of them has light leather cuirass, cuirass rather, like a leather jerkin basically for armor. None of the armor would fit Shale. However, you're sure if you collect enough armor, you could probably festoon some kind of contraption to his body to provide armor for him. However, those of you that don't have armor, you can wear some if you choose. There are 4 fairly decent condition, apart from a few slash marks in them, leather cuirasses. And go ahead, you got a question?
What was Malrogan's weapon?
Malrogan had a spiked club. A big son of a gun of a spiked club.
Is that still like? Is it like kind of unique looking?
I mean, it's not often you see a spiked club. It doesn't look like it's one of a kind.
But it's oversized, right?
Oh yeah, it's oversized. It looks uncommon. This looks like an unwieldy weapon. It's sort of big and and you got hit with it a few times, and that was almost enough force to knock you off your saddle.
Okay, I'll take it and see if our fair Harambe laden friend would want it. I'll like drag it over to him.
Sure. Yeah, and it is heavy. You gotta lift it up, and it's one of those think Captain Caveman. It's like that size as you're dragging it over towards him.
I do believe I found the appropriate weapon for you, Shale. And then I kind of like lift it up from my side. I'm like, I can't quite get it all the way up, but I'm sure you can.
I don't need weapons.
But this is tailor-made.
I do not need weapons.
Fair enough. And if nobody's going to take the leather jerkins, the cuirass, I'll take a cuirass and try and wrap it around the spikes of the club.
Yep.
And just saddle it to my horse so it doesn't get hurt.
Okay, that works. You can totally do that. And you can bring it back with you. the rest of you, like I said, you find the short sword. I'm sorry, you find the crossbows, you find spears, and on Malrogan, you find he has old but decent-looking chainmail. I think Jhin, you would likely notice that first, as you have more experience with metal armors. You know that it looks weathered, it looks worn, it looks used, but it looks like it's very good quality. And you would all notice that around his neck, on a rusted chain, as you look closer at it, is a desiccated, almost mummified hand.
If I inspect him a little bit closer, get close to the body, would I recognize it as definitely necromancy?
He's definitely undead.
Right.
What are you trying to figure out?
I guess I'm trying to figure out if someone brought him back to life to come and attack us, or how long.
So you were raised Ambrian, so you would know, and Jhin, you would know as well. The rest of you, Shale, I don't think you would know. Nem, you might have an inkling, but I don't think this is super relevant to you. Before the Ambrians came to Ambria, before they were known as Ambrians, they lived in a place called Berendoria, which is across the mountains. And the reason they fled Berendoria across the Titans to what is now known as Ambria is because there was a massive battle, years-long war with dark sorcerers that were necromancers. So necromancy isn't a new thing, it's just a new thing to the Davokar. So the Ambrians have dealt with necromancy before, and this guy may be part of that. He may have been run over from that. He may have been affected and then died, affected by some magic and then died here at Ambria and then was risen by that magic. It could be lingering effects. You're not really sure. But as an Ambrian, you'd know that this is not common here, but not unheard of.
It's worth noting, though, that the Ambrians won that war. Though, right?
Yeah, the Ambrians did win that war. However, the land was so destroyed by the dark magics that it was essentially the land was poisoned. They couldn't grow crops. They couldn't do anything, and the land was dying. So they had to go across the mountains. It wasn't like we can stay or we have a choice. It was like everything's gonna die, and if we don't leave, we're gonna die. So now they're here.
I think Neb would know that just based on the fact that she travels and comes across Amrian, and her family have been impacted by the fact that they've had to move there.
Yeah. You might
and
hear it,
all of the fighting that we see, we've been healers for years in the family because when they came over, people needed healers when the Ambrians started attacking.
Yeah. So you would hear it in rumors. Mahdga, you would have been raised with the stories of that, and Jhin, you're probably just old enough to have been a child because you made the journey over the Titans. Because it was about
4 or 5.
Yeah, because it was about 20 years ago that it happened, that the war ended. So you were around for the tail end of it. So you kind of grew up your grandfather was a huge fighter in that war. He was one of the most prominent figures in it. So you have details of the war. At least you have war stories and battle tales of how epic it was. You have first-hand accounts, so to speak. So yeah, Mahdga, you would know that this is necromancy and that it's fairly uncommon in the Davokar or in the area around here, but not completely unheard of. And you would be able to identify that immediately. You'd know what undead was.
I let everyone know that.
Words.
Yeah, so like I said, all those weapons, he has chainmail on and the desiccated, almost mummified hand around his neck.
Any of the light armor that's left, I'd like to collect as much as I can and kind of roll it up and put it into one of the satchels that Shale is carrying.
Sure.
So that later on we can maybe fashion him a little toga.
Shale, write down that you have 3 leather cuirasses.
Can do.
I'm just picturing this ogre with a literal leather toga.
Yeah, but it looks but it's basically if you took a shirt and you cut it down one side and opened it up to 2 shirts and then sewed those shirts together.
So he's got boob holes from the arm sleeves.
He's wearing a crop top, guys.
Yeah.
It's a mishmash of armor piecemealed together. Is there anything else you guys are picking up?
There's no money or
There are
orbs
actually. Yep,
or
I
anything.
forgot. There are. Somebody has money. I know they do.
A couple of sailors.
Yeah. So all of the robber bandits, you kind of collect through all of them. There's a few, like you guys can gather up quiver bolts. Sorry, a bolt full of quivers. Quiver full of bolts.
Are there any
Very nice.
arrows?
No, they all had crossbows. And there's about, between all of them, there's about 25 thaler.
So she would look to Jhin with a handful of thaler.
He puts his hand out.
She assumed so, but would at least try to be polite and then divvy it up between the three of us.
Yep.
Giving the extra to Mahdga, because there's two of you guys.
Yeah. Let me see. What else do they have? I think that's it. They have that. Is there anything else you guys are grabbing off of these bodies before we move on to Jhin and his interrogation?
The hand?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go on a limb and say that hand seems kind of important.
Okay.
What else was there? It was on rope. You said, yeah.
It was on a rusted chain.
Rusted chain. Oh yeah, so I can just whoop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can easily just. It's worn like he wears it like a necklace. You can just pop that off.
Okay. I think we crushed his head anyways, didn't I?
You severed it and let it fly off, and it looked at you and said, "The master of death will never die." As its head lobbed off. You take that. Okay. So you have the hand. We'll call it the hand of Malrogan. So have fun with that. So we'll end that, and we'll go over to Jhin, who is in the field. Nem, you have a
One
question?
more. So my question was, is the crossbow, can I use that because I use the bow and arrow? Am I proficient with that at all?
You are proficient with it, but read your marksman thing. Does it only
It's
say
just
bow?
ranged.
No, read your
From
marks. You have a marksman ability. Does it say crossbow or bow?
Marksman ability?
Yep. On your character sheet, you have the ability novice.
One moment,
marksmanship.
please, sir.
Does it say bows,
Bows and crossbows?
Then there you go. Then that applies to crossbows, and you can take
Enjoy
crossbows.
your stay.
I'm going to take one in all of those bolts, but I'm also going to keep my bow.
Okay. So as you go around and collect, you find about 20 bolts.
So there was another crossbow here as well.
There are several crossbows that you can take.
Does Jhin want one?
Are they like light? Would they impede me too much? Or?
No, they're light crossbows. It's just a regular crossbow.
Like a little guy.
Yeah, I'll take 1 and 5 bolts.
Okay.
For emergencies.
Sure. So you have 15 bolts, Nem.
Actually, question.
Sure.
The spears that they have, could they be throwing spears?
They are not javelins or spears. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure what I said is correct. Yes, yeah, they are
Fair.
like full on two-handed spears.
Take 10 of them.
I only need 5.
Okay.
All right, so you guys collect all your gear. Jhin grabs the two and drags them out into the center of the field. So basically, the tower is here. You guys are here at the corpses. Jhin drags them out into the field, gets them in an execution position. And what do you do, Jhin?
So I don't know if I had them masked or anything like that, but
Nope.
if I do, I unmask them. And I just kind of walk with my halberd over my shoulder, and I'm gonna start asking questions, and and I'll beckon over anyone in the party who wants to come over. And the first question I have is, so who do you all work for?
The Kessel, right? That's his name. Kessel looks to you and he says, "I work for myself."
Put your hand out for me. And I realize he can't because his hands are tied.
His hands are tied. Yep.
Yep.
He struggles.
Yes. Good point, right? Who do you work for?
I work for myself.
I take the axe and I rest the tip of it on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you work for, or at least, the very least, why would you have taken this item? Who made you get it?
I work for myself. I was going through packs and the stone glows and felt warm to the touch. I assumed
Then
it was worth something.
why did our fair, re-risen friend know where to meet you so promptly?
Oh, I contacted him immediately. He's an old friend of mine.
And he seemed to know exactly what this item was.
That's what I had hoped.
So you're saying you work for yourself and you're not useful, beyond the scope of this conversation.
I'm a mule keep as well.
You're right. This is the guy I gave the Thaler, right?
Yeah. No, that's his friend.
Oh, friend. Okay. His friend was
Telk, and
Telk.
Telk is the one that gave him up. He gave up his location.
You know your friend Telk let us know where you were, right? Why do you think that is?
I assume you threatened him.
No, actually, he is quite the good servant.
I don't know.
You don't know a lot. And I look over to the party. Are we done with him?
Do we want to bring him back so that they don't think we just killed a bunch of people?
You mean like you did?
He tilts his head.
Hey, how about
You're unfortunately right.
He doesn't. It's not that he doesn't deserve it.
He takes his boot and he just like pushes it against the guy's chest and knocks him down to like he's a turtle. On his back.
And he just topples back over and tries to squirt him left and right to get back up.
And I yell next, and I put the tip of the halberd on the next one. Who do you work for?
He like looks over your shoulder. I worked for him, and he like motions towards the.
How do you work for an undead abomination? My family didn't fight these things to have them be roaming all willy-nilly.
I don't understand the question.
Where did you meet this thing?
Here, he's declared himself as a robber baron, and basically swept through the area, collecting anyone else who was a highwayman.
What do you know of him? Do you know where he came from?
He came from over the Titans.
He did. Has he met with anyone else? Have you guys reconvened with any other groups or robber barons, as you call them?
No, just him. Anyone he finds, he takes under his service.
So there's nobody else that he works for. He's kind of on his own, right?
Roll me. Man, I gotta remember what these abilities are. Roll me cunning.
Once my character sheet loads, there we go. Cunning?
Yeah.
Cunning. Any plus or minus?
Nope. Okay. Yeah. So he says no. He swept through and collected any of the bandits of the area and put them under his service. We had to work for him. You saw him?
Okay. So I take the first one, Kessel, and I turn him towards so he can see the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at him. I'm like, this is what happens when you rob and pass my family. And I just overhand cut him right at the neck. The guy that I was just talking to a moment ago.
To death?
To death.
Okay. So yeah, you just cleave into this guy, like at a diagonal angle into the side of his neck, and just sort of like your blade embeds like just past the collarbone, and he screams in agony for the few seconds that he's alive before he bleeds out all over Kessel and your polearm, and then just sort of like slides off the end of it and flumps to the ground.
And then I look down, I'm like, and that's why nobody passes my family.
And you see that there is a certain new moistness around Kessel.
Are you ready to go back to Camp Kessel?
I'll go wherever you want. And like he's still trying to roll and get up.
Nem's going to go over and help him up. Why did you want the stone?
I didn't want your stone. It glows and was warm. It seemed not normal. I thought it would be worth something.
She's gonna hit him.
He takes a blow.
Why did you want the stone?
I don't know how many times I can answer questions for you. It looked valuable. Do you know how much a mule keep makes?
Lady Nem, I've tried this.
She's gonna hit him again and then start walking back to camp.
Yep, he takes it and like stumbles as you're like helping him back up. And he's got growing bruises on his face apart from where you guys, and he's got like puncture wounds in his arms and neck that you can see where things have burrowed out of his flesh.
And I whisper to him, I'm like, next time you don't adhere to what we want to happen, Shale gets a shot at you. And I point up to Harambe.
And as you're like leading him towards the top of the hill, you see that he like lags back behind you as he's like gazing up at the behemoth that is Shale, all 7 foot tall of muscle.
Shale probably looks menacing to anyone who doesn't know him, but those that do, he's clearly uncomfortable with this whole situation.
Yeah. I think you just exist menacingly at all times unless you actively try not to, and even then it's a rough shot.
A big toothy gorilla smile.
Yeah. Which is terrifying in its own right. So we'll end this scene. You guys collect all your gear. Jhin, you have the desiccated hand of Mahdga and the club. You guys have your talers. You guys have your crossbows and bolts. And you have a piecemeal set of armor that you can eventually sew together, you hope, Shale. And we will bring you guys back to the camp. So you guys arrive where they're breaking down camp. You guys woke up in the morning, came here immediately, smashed in some people. It's only been a few hours of your searching. It's probably like midday. Excuse me. And you guys get back as they're kind of waiting for you because several people of the caravan have left. And you see the caravan master. How do you have Kessel?
He is slung over. I think that's really the only way with how he's tied up. He's slung over the back of the hindquarter of my horse.
Okay. Keller.
Keller.
Kessel was the bandit leader from my other game. So you have Keller. And you are bringing him back to the camp. And you get a few like looks from other people that you recognize. Looking at, you guys are all battle worn. Shale's got a few puncture holes in him. You got some new dents in your fancy armor, and a man slung across the back of your horse. Go ahead.
I'll swing off my horse and I'll pull him by his feet off the back of the horse, and I'll go up to the caravan sarai master and I'll do that, and I'll pull him down until he plumps to the ground.
Yeah, and, so he usually sets up a tent. Depending on how long the stay is, it's a bigger tent. So he's at a smaller tent for this stay. And he kind of comes out. There's the typical guards around his tent, and he hears the mutterings of people. And one of the guards sort of sees you coming and ducks in, and then comes back out. And a few seconds later, Argasto comes out and looks at you and says, "What is this? What have you done?"
We caught a little rat going through our belongings, and we exterminated it.
Oh, we've had reports of that recently. I assumed we were just misplacing things. When we break for camp, it's easy to leave things behind. You seem to have subdued him quite well.
Yes, him and the bandits he was carousing with. What was his name? Malrogan.
I
know.
Okay. He says, I mean, as I said earlier on the journey, there was bandit activity in the area, and we should be careful. But I didn't know we had a traitor in our midst.
Well, there shouldn't be too much more bandit activity. We killed, what would you say, folks? 5, 6?
Maybe 7. And she'll look down to him.
And I have one of their hands. He was already wearing it himself. I'm not that peculiar. And I show the hand of Malrogan.
Yeah, he looks at it and says, "That's just terrifying. Keep that away. Keep that away from me. I don't want any business with that. Why would he be wearing a hand? I listen. This is far too strange for me. Perhaps Bartello will know. Yeah, perhaps he'll know." As I remember names from this.
Point me in his direction.
He points you in a direction. You know that Bartellum is the young member of the Ordo Magica. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Mahdga would have had several interactions with him. I think Nem might have had an interaction or two with him as well.
So I'll walk over swinging the chain on my hand like a toy almost.
Yep.
With the hand swinging around the outside.
Yep.
And whistling as as Sheba kind of follows me along.
You're a monster person.
As he walks off, I'm gonna kind of step in front of him and just say, listen, the next time you find yourself killing a man who's tied up and a threat to you no longer, make sure that you do not involve me or Shale in any of your talks. He's not your toy for you to have everyone look at, and he's not someone who's going to do what you say or protect you because you ask him to. He's here with me, and he's not someone for you to show off. We're not assassins.
He opens his mouth as if to say something while you're going. He's like, fair point.
We don't want to call any more attention to ourselves than we already have, if it's all the same to you.
It is. I respect your request.
I'll just throw the hood over my cloak and walk back over to Shale.
Nem will just say thank you to you when she walks by. Thank you for helping me.
To Jhin? Okay.
Thank you for helping
thumbs
me.
up.
When Mahdga gets back, Shale's just going to look down at her and nod. That one is going to be trouble.
Right.
So you're going to see Barthelem of the Ordo Magica. You find him. He's at his caravan, at his wagon, and he's packing things in there. You help him with crates of books, and you are swinging this on a chain as you walk over, kind of whistling about your day, leading your horse behind you. He looks up to you. Yes?
Tell me, what do you know about undead and wearing their hands as an adornment? And then I put on the chain around my neck and I smile.
I know nothing. Where did you get that?
I don't believe you. You know nothing, or you don't know nothing of this particular hand?
Neither? Both? I don't know of any undead wearing any other undead's pieces.
What about their own pieces? That was quite possible.
No, I don't have any reports of that either.
Well then, you're going to be making some groundbreaking research in the field, my friend. Here you are. This belongs...
Oh, no. I spent enough time over the Titans. You can keep that. I'm making a fresh start. I don't want anything to do with undead. No, that's why I'm here. No, thank you. You can. Wait, nope. And he's like pushing it back towards you. Listen, I will do you this favor. When we get to Thistle Hold, I have a friend, Master Vernon. He will see to whatever you want. I am done. I'm done with anything over the Titans. I'm done with anything undead. I'm done with the necromancers. No, thank you. And he's like pushing it back towards you.
I've had to say this a lot today. I respect your decision.
Is that where you stop?
And I put it back around my neck. I put my my halberd into the ground. I turn on my heel and I walk away, kind of rigid.
Okay. All right. So that's where we'll end that scene, guys. And the caravan begins to, everyone packs their stuff. The caravan begins to move. The yahs are called. The horses are moved. Jhin rides his horse in a vanguard. You guys see Ludo and Bellin sort of range out and then kind of loop back. They're doing a similar thing that Jin's doing. Mahdga and Shale. Shale, you walk beside one of the wagons. I assume, Mahdga, you ride in one. And Nem, no one knows where to find you. You just sort of pop in and out of the caravan back and forth. Because you're a crazy person. Who looks, I assume you're grabbing, as you're seeing trees, you kind of pop out and grab a few herbs here and pop back into the caravan, that kind of thing. So the caravan marches on for another day. You guys relatively easily cross over the Iblis River. It takes about a 4-hour journey to find an area that is shallow enough for you guys to cross with the horses and caravans. A few of you guys have to get out. Shale, you probably give one of the caravans a nice push over one particularly rocky part of the river or bumpy or muddy part of the river, and you kind of shove it right out of there. Jhin, you are relatively useless because it's wet and you're on a horse, and I think you remain that way. So you guys get past the River Iblis, and you guys are making camp for the next night on your journey. Because there is so many people and so pack-laden of wagons, you typically it's the spring, so it's not that hard to gain firewood, and there's this nearby forest and copse of trees, so there's no firewood packed on these wagons. So every night someone goes out and chops down some smaller trees and brings them in and has a little bonfire like you guys had on the first night. Do any of you guys volunteer to assist in foraging and getting firewood and that kind of thing?
Nem would definitely help. She wants to go hunting as well.
Okay, sure. Nem, roll me vigilant. No modifier.
Once I figure out how this works. There you go.
Okay. So you've seen a bit of game, but with the amount of people that are thwack, thwack, thwack on the trees, it spooks it, and your arrow kind of flies shy. You're not able to track any game. You do find a few herbs for your alchemy, and you are able to get kindling and like bundles of fire, and be in your eyes useful. Shale, you look like you had something to say.
Yeah, I mean, if Mahdga's occupied and he feels like she's going to be all right in current company,
Yep.
he'll probably go out and like drag back whatever wood is being gathered for the good of the group. He believes in earning his keep.
Okay. And Jhin, what about you?
I've earned my keep. I killed a undead zombie.
That's true. You did. You're done for the adventure, I think. Mag, go ahead.
Jhin doesn't do that stuff. That's
That's fair.
That's below his station.
Mahdga, what are you doing?
I would definitely be helping, like, cook, get food ready for everybody, things like that.
Okay, yeah, so everyone makes themselves useful. So you're gathered around. Shale, you're grabbing the larger, like a tree. You just knock over a small tree and just drag that back. Nem, you have kindling and stick bundles as you're kind of coming back. Mahdga, you're helping with the fire and helping prepare cookery. Jhin, you are just being ostentatious. And you all hear a scream pierce the night air. It is a guttural, like a Wilhelm scream, followed by a second one, and it is coming from the woods. You see a few of the guards look startled and look to Argasto, the caravan leader, who kind of tells them to move out, and they begin positioning themselves around the caravan defensively.
Am I already on Sheba?
Sure.
Or no?
Sure.
Can I make a pass, not directly at it, but at and off, kind of veer off near the end of where I heard it?
Sure. Yeah, you can run that way. So you ride that way. You guys hear the scream. You see the guards begin to fan out and essentially defend the caravan circle. It's basically they circle the wagons. These guys kind of come in between them. There's 5 or 6 guards, each with a spear, so they kind of fan out. You see Jhin on his horse ride right towards where you guys perceive the noise coming from. Shale, Mahdga, and Nem, what do you do?
I would immediately run out to, sort of further out to see if I can see Shale anywhere.
Yep.
I imagine I could probably see
Yeah,
him.
so you would see that Shale and Nem are a little bit a ways apart, but they are walking back together. Shale kind of like a halberd. He kind of has a tree over his shoulder, and he's dragging the tree, leaves behind it. And
Yes.
Nem has armfuls of brambles as she's holding them back.
So I'll just motion for him to, to run that way, and I'll start running to catch up.
Okay. Nem, you might see Mahdga, but at a minimum you hear the tree drop, that sound of a tree falling, and then
Yeah.
the ground pound near you. And you know that Shale is moving quickly in a direction away from you.
Okay.
And it's so awkward.
She's just going to take out her crossbow because she doesn't go anywhere without a weapon.
Okay.
That's
so
stupid.
You take out your crossbow, you knock one of the bolts, and you start winding it back.
And then she's gonna just follow behind Shale, his trail he is blazing.
Okay. Jhin, roll me vigilant against nothing.
Vigilant? Pull.
Okay. So you're just through the woods.
Yeah, I'm I have my lance raised slightly, not fully couched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you kind of have it up, and you kind of have it in not quite in the nook, but you just have it like resting on your lap as you're holding onto it with one, like higher up with one arm as you're cracking the reins with the other arm, and you are moving forward, and you are trying to make a pass. You're looking as quick as you can, but in the fading sunlight and the shadow against the trees, it's kind of hard to see where you're going or what you're looking for until you come upon it. And what you see is Ludo and Bellin and another figure. At a glance, you don't recognize the person. They are dressed in complete black, and they are facing down a massive, snarling maw of a beast that looks like this. Black fur, matted fur, tangled weaves, like beady red eyes. And as you like round in and you like kind of pull Sheba to a halt, you see that behind it are like 5 small yipping wolf dogs. You know them as Jakar. Yep, they are local, smaller wolves. They're sometimes in different areas. You've known that barbarians have taken them as like wolf companions. They're not like a dire wolf. They're not like a regular wolf. They're kind of like the next thing down. If you had to compare it to an actual wolf, it'd be like the runt of a litter.
But they're dangerous.
They are dangerous, especially in a pack. And these seem to be prowling behind this massive black beast as if it's some kind of pack leader. And this black beast is snarling, teeth bared, and it's moving towards the 2 pathfinders that you know as Bellin and Ludo. And you can see that one of the scream came from one of them as there's piles of sticks around them that they must have dropped, and they're scrambling towards their weapons. Okay. What do you do?
I'll try and ready my my halberd and charge right at the large wolf, the hunger wolf as it's called.
Okay, so you can roll me. I
don't get a free attack because we didn't start engaged, right?
Right, you didn't start engaged. You're coming into this right now.
Right.
So this is essentially your free attack. We haven't done advantage yet. This is your free attack for having a long weapon. So you can roll me. You're attacking, so attack -5 or accurate -5.
Accurate -5. Accurate -5.
Right, you don't have an ability that lets you use strong instead of accurate or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay. So you succeed. So you can roll me some damage.
All right. Oh, I could have just hit the halberd, couldn't I?
Yep, you could have hit the halberd. You can do it now if you want. We'll count it as a success anyway.
Okay. So -5 still or no?
Yeah, -5. We'll just count it as a success. So you deal 9 damage to this thing. Well, you do 9 damage minus its armor. So yeah, you see this thing just like dripping beady eyes. It's advancing on it's advancing on Ludo and Bellin, and you just slam into the side of it. You kind of hear like as it bounces to the side, and you find purchase with your halberd and kind of carry it over and pull it out as you make a pass by. You immediately see it like right itself, and all 5 of the Jakar break off and begin towards you and nipping at Sheba.
Can I yell at Ludo and Bellin to run?
Yes, you may, as a free action, yell at them to run.
Go on, get!
If I have range, do I go next?
You would if you were there. So you all hear, go on, get, because he's on a horse. And it's at that point that you guys are approaching, because you're all running from essentially the same location. And you see that like Ludo and Bellin and this figure in black who you don't recognize immediately is sort of backing up away from this disgusting, snarling, matted-haired beast that is again right at itself. You see a little bit of blood coming out of its right shoulder, but it is advancing on these people. And whoever has the highest quick goes first. So does anyone have a quick over 15?
No, I have 11.
Okay. I wish I had a note card. I'll make one. Add handout. Should have thought about this before. Let's see. Hunger Wolf goes first. The Jakar goes second. Does anyone have over a 10 in quick? You have over a 10? Okay, so you go third. Jhin. And I believe, Shale, you go last? Is that correct? Because you have like a negative.
I believe Mahdga and I were both the same at 10 and 10.
I have 10 as well.
Yeah.
You roll off the
and
D20.
then who has the higher vigilant of the 3 of you?
8.
I was a 10.
10.
Okay, so it's Mahdga, and
always
Shale
10.
at the same time. Mahdga, Shale. And Nem, you go last. So, Nem, we'll say that you're still, like, knocking the bow. You're still, swinging the gear back. But immediately, the Hunger Wolf lashes out, and you see this Hunger Wolf grab at Ludo and just bite on his leg and, like, slams him to the ground and begins, like, pulling him towards it as it's moving forward and advancing towards his chest. You see the woman in black sort of, like, reach in forward and swing at it with something. And the Jakar are all going to nip at you, Jhin. Let's see how that goes for you. Some of these may hit Sheba, because you're mounted and they are wolves. So go ahead and roll me defense, -3.
So my medium armor?
Just hit defense. There should be a defense button, and then -3. Should be a defense button right near your medium armor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's why I was. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It already has an impede -3, so another -3.
Another -3. Yep. Because these guys are quick. Roll that for me 4 more times.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more, right?
One more. Okay. So.
Good gravy.
Roll me a D100 and call high or low.
/roll D100, and I'm gonna say I'm feeling low.
Okay. Okay. You take 1 damage as one of these things and grabs onto your leg and sort of like shakes it. You kind of kick it off, but as you're kicking it off one side, you swing your eyes to the left. Where it kicks you, where you kick it off, and then 2 more jump to reach for you. But because you twisted, their teeth don't find purchase, but their claws rake down the side of Sheba, and she takes 2 damage.
All right. So where should I mark Sheba's health?
Just in any arbitrary spot on your thing.
All right. Equipment bio.
Yep.
I'm just gonna add friends, Sheba, then health. How much health does the horse have?
I will say the horse has 10 health because that's the minimum health you can have, and 15 is the maximum. And I will use your armor for her armor. I assume your horse is properly barded. Yeah. So one of them hit you, and you negated 2 damage. The other 2 hit her, and you negated 2 damage from each of those. So you have 5 targets on you, so she is going to take some damage. Before, when you fought Malrogan, you only had Malrogan on you, so that was pretty simple. I believe that brings us to your turn. Jhin, you are surrounded by small wolves. You see coming into this like pseudo clearing that your friends are starting to rush in, and you see the like hands and feet moving of Shale busting into this clearance.
Did Ludo and Bellum get away?
They did not. In fact, Ludo is currently in the mouth of the Hunger Wolf.
Shit. Okay, then I'm going to attack the Hunger Wolf, and I'm going to go directly for its because it's in range of me, right?
Well, you charged through the Hunger Wolf, right? That was your...
Yeah, I charged through. I'd say through would be safe.
Okay, so yeah, I would say that you charged through it, so you're a few feet away from it. So you'd have to move to it, which means that these guys might be able to take a reactionary attack to attack you, because they ran out and surrounded you.
It's Bellum or Ludo that's in there.
Ludo is in the mouth of this Hunger Wolf.
Ludo was actually nice, wasn't he?
They were both gruff. They're pathfinders. They spend a lot of time in the Davokar. Neither one of them really talked too much to you, but you got the opinion that they were probably brothers.
But I probably spent a lot of time kind of like scouting with them in the last few days, right?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say a lot of time with them. You scouted out, and then you guys kind of branched off, and you kind of came back together and discussed things. And you find they're both similar mentality. They're both pretty gruff. They both mostly keep to each other. But of any of you, they probably have talked to you the most.
Fuck. Okay, I'll take the attacks and try and. I'll move and take the free attacks and try and attack the Hunger Wolf to free him, if possible.
Okay. So yeah, you're gonna attack. So go ahead and roll me defense, and I'll say that 2 of them attack. You're only defense -3.
Defense minus, so -3.
And do that twice.
3.
Okay, so you take 1 more damage as this thing leaps towards you. The other one, you see it coming, and you sort of like backhand it with the haft of your polearm as it like hits the ground and you cut it on its back and flips back over. But you make it through, and you're going to charge at, or are you just going to move to and attack?
I'm gonna move to an attack, so I stay in its range.
Okay. So go ahead and attack that Hunger Wolf. It is your attack -5.
All right, cool. So just enter -5 for it. Cool.
Hot damn. So describe how you hit this Hunger Wolf here.
So I'll rear Sheba around and like turn her back towards the Hunger Wolf, and they'll nip at my legs as I kind of make my way away. And instead of like charging, I'll bring the pole arm to bear with both my hands, and just swing down so that I don't catch Sheba. I'm trying to hit it with the head of the axe on the halberd. Okay. I'm aiming for the upper part of the neck head. Not so much that I'll hit Ludo in the jaws, but that like I want to try and force this thing to let go of him. So I want to hit around that area.
Okay. So you're just basically trying to hit it so it releases Ludo.
And I'll take any negative advantages, like if it gets plus to hit me or whatever have you, to try and get him free.
Okay. So you definitely hit this guy, and you know what? You hit with a pretty decent amount of damage. So you hit this thing, and before you speared it in its like right shoulder, and now you kind of charge in from the opposite side, and you kind of like launch your blade like in its neck, like between the shoulder and neck muscles, causing it to like yelp open and open its mouth, and you see like Ludo begin to scramble back. His leg, like his thigh, is mangled. You know that he's probably not going to be able to range for a while, if he can walk at all in this in the coming days. But he is able to scramble back. You see Bellin is kind of grabbing him and pulling back, and you see this woman in black sort of step in defensively, you might say, over the bodies and like raise up. She's got a mace, and she's going to swing it at these guys, more like an iron-banded club as she swings it at this thing.
I will yell at the brothers or whatever they might be. I said, "Run, crawl, do what you must, run." And
Bellin is kind of grabbing and pulling him as quickly as he can. Mahdga and Shale, you see this happen. You see Jhin run past a bunch of pack animals. You've seen them before. Smash through the line and stab this massive wolf, freeing Ludo from its mouth. What do you guys do?
I imagine Shale is closer, and I had him start running in that direction. So while he's running towards them, would I be able to differentiate whether these are tamed or if they just are definitely wild?
Do you have beast lore as an ability?
No, but I've lived with a barb clan for a super long time, so I definitely know.
That's true. Roll me cunning at a -3.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, so there's not much differential between a domesticated pack animal and a normal pack animal, and just especially in combat. So seeing them attack, you don't see any person leading them. Your best assumption would be that this is like a almost like a den mother or an alpha, and these sort of have flocked to a stronger wolf.
Okay.
So you would know that. I'll give you that as a free action.
So who currently is still being attacked right now?
So Jhin has 5 Jakar, the little pack animals, on his heels, and you see a few like stripes of blood down the side of Sheba, and you see that there is a person stepped in front of this Hunger Wolf, and the Hunger Wolf is advancing, bleeding out of both sides of its shoulders and neck. So it seems like everyone that was under attack is still under attack.
Okay, so I'm gonna get close. So if Shale is ahead of me, then he can go ahead. I'm gonna get close enough to whack him with my staff.
Okay. So roll -5. You're attacking the Hunger Wolf, right? That you said.
Mm-hmm.
Roll attack -5.
Attack is accurate, right?
You should have a weapon on your character.
Oh yeah, I do.
Just hit the attack button and then -5 too.
-5. Oh.
Okay, so you kind of go in there and you sort of like go to whack at it with your staff, and as you go to whack at it, the wolf lunges forward towards the woman that you now that you're up there in melee range, you notice is a woman in black defending the 2 pathfinders. It lunges and you kind of sweep and you miss a little bit. Shale, what are you doing?
probably like pretty well down on all fours at this point as he charges in on his knuckles. Seeing, well, he was ahead, I guess. He'd have gone in towards this big thing, threatening people. He's a protector. So yeah, the hunger wolf itself. I think he'd go in with some fisticuffs.
Okay.
Yeah. What am I rolling on that?
It would be attack -5. You hit.
I hit.
Tell me what this hit looks like.
I think he came in with such like aggression. He probably just lowered his shoulder and charged into it with,
And, like,
with
bolted
the
over?
brunt of the impact. Yeah,
Sure. Does that attack also include your... It does. Okay.
that does. Yeah.
So yeah, you're just boop, boop, on your knuckles and your hands, knuckles and your feet as you're through and you just shoulder charge this thing, and you hit it right between, like, you know, its haunches, and you hear as it yelps and just is carried through the motion away from people, kind of towards the Jakar, as you sort of push it past even Jhin. And as you like right yourself and stand up ready to like strike again to finish this thing off, you see that like its side heaves as though breathing, and then it heaves shallower and shallower, and the wolf just sort of like passes. And you see before your eyes the skin of this wolf begin to like slowly slide off in like chunks of matted hair as it like melts to the side, and as the wolf pelt sort of like sloughs off the body, there in the center of this matted fur and viscous blood is a humanoid figure. You don't recognize what it is. Just a humanoid figure is laying in a puddle of matted wolf fur and blood and viscera. Nem, what are you doing?
Well,
You see,
Jhin's
you see Shale just bash through. You see Jhin on his horse spearing away at things, and you see 5 Jakar are biting at him and his horse's heels.
I'm going to aim for the meaty bits of one of the ones that are attacking Jhin.
Okay. That would be an attack -5.
So enemy disadvantage are just type 5 or -5? Just 5?
I think -5. Okay. I don't remember. Perfect. So you know, are you practiced with crossbows, or are you just assuming that you're good at them because you're good with bows?
She would have used them back home, not like she does with her bow, but she's, you know, people are out. She'd probably seen people, like when she first saw one, she probably would have tried it out and decided to go with a bow instead.
Sure. So you have little experience with the crossbow, but enough to function. And you sort of twing, and you hit one of them, and it gets hit to the side as it's like leaping towards Jhin. And you see the arrow, you see the bolt sink into its hide. Just do be sure to mark off the bows and the arrows and bolts you use, because that'll be awful when you're all out.
It has to be above a what?
So above it, if you roll above a 10, you can recover it. So this arrow is one that you can recover. So you don't have to, essentially just don't mark off one if it's below a 10. So you rolled a 2, so you're totally fine.
So I don't mark it off.
Yeah, don't mark this one off. That one's fine.
Okay.
So and it falls to the side. Jhin, it is your turn. Actually, I'm sorry, it's not. It's the Jakar's turn. The Jakar are going to nip at you. So I need defense -3 5 times. Actually, 3 times. And Shale, I need defense -3 from
You're
you
muted.
twice.
Defense -3.
Yes, twice for you, and 3 times for Jhin. One more time for Jhin. There we go. And miss enemy hit. Okay, so you 2 of them leap up and try to bite at you. They miss as you're trying to maneuver Sheba around. The other one sort of bites up at you, but clamps on all metal, and you feel teeth just rake against the metal plating. You, however, Shale, 2 of them break off as they see you just pummel through the hunger wolf, and they break off and leap towards you. defending their pack alpha, and you take 4 points of damage as they're just biting and raking along your stony hide. Jhin, it is your turn. You see that there are now 2 of these Jakars that broke off of you and are attacking.
How close to me are the ones that are attacking Shale?
They're in long range. They're in enough range where you can hit them with your polearm.
All right. I'll lash out at one of the ones attacking Shale.
Okay.
What is it, minus what to hit?
-5.
-5. Balls.
So you have 3 still on you. You're trying to maneuver Sheba through them without getting yourself or Sheba attacked, and you kind of swing wide. But these they're like small dog size, and they like dips underneath your blade swing. Mahdga and Shale. Shale, you're being attacked by 2 of these things. Mahdga, you see him just plow through the Hunger Wolf, and you see now 2 of the wolves are biting and nipping at him. What do you guys want to do?
I'm going to try and just whack one of them with my quarterstaff again.
So you're going to move in and sort of hit one off Shale?
Yeah.
Okay. Attack -5.
All right.
So same thing. You kind of run in there, and they're kind of like leaping side to side like jackals, trying to nip at him as you swing, and it leaps as you swing. Shale, you see that Mahdga has stepped in to defend you, and the jackals are nipping towards you as the largest target. So you're doing your job quite well. What do you want to do?
Shale is going to use the distraction from Mahdga and his movement to flank one of these little guys.
Okay.
And then try to grab it right around the throat.
Okay, so you are able to spend your movement action to flank one of these dogs. You have advantage on your ability. Go ahead and roll.
What's the? It's -3.
It is -5.
-5.
Mhm.
I'll take that to a -3 for the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll still miss.
Yep. So you sort of like lumber up and you like shake the dogs off and you kind of step aside, and now it's like one of the 2 of them are kind of like in between you and Mahdga, and you sort of like slowly reach down to grab these things, and they're just too quick. They're just leaping back and forth. Nem, you see what he's trying to do, that he's trying to like smash them or grab them or something. You see that Jhin is swinging his glaive around, and you see that Mahdga has a stick and she's trying to do her best to keep them off of Shale. What do you do?
She's just watching.
Okay.
No.
All right, cool. Top of the order. It's Jakar's turn.
She's gonna try to hit the same one she hit before.
Okay. So attack -5.
Yep. Come on.
We're just nailing these rolls tonight.
Hey.
There's one.
So you see all this, excitement happening, this quick flashing movements, and you sort of like take a second, you ready the bow, you steady it, you grab the handle, and you fire it. And as you fire it, one of these dogs is leaping towards Jhin, who has turned around to swing with his glaive. And behind you guys, you all hear as you catch this thing in the neck as it just floats to the side and like rolls a few times through the dirt, and you don't see it get back up.
Excellent shooting, them. He yells.
Thanks.
2 defense.
She's like the size of the fucking crossbow.
2 defense -3 for Shale and for Jhin.
All right. Minus trace.
Okay.
Minus trace.
Okay. Okay.
Ooh.
Hey.
Fancy.
So you are going to take. You can make a free attack, Shale.
Done.
So go ahead and make a free attack -5. Okay. Wow. Just barely made that one. So let's say you still have advantage on this attack. So I believe you have some bonus damage for having advantage.
It's an extra D4, yeah. So I'll just roll this one because that's what it is.
Okay. You see one of the dogs leap towards you. Jhin, they both leap towards you. You defend them off with the back half of your staff and your armor. Shale, you see one of them leap towards you, and you just grab it. and your big meaty paw is like squeezing this thing. But as your attention is turned, another one leaps towards you and just bites onto your shoulder and is like clawing at you, and you take 3 more damage. You see this, Jhin. The dog is leaping towards Shale. Shale has one. Shale, I assume you're using Strangulator on that one.
No, that was just an attack.
Okay. So you have this one. You can strangle it next turn.
Okay.
So, Jhin, you see one in his hand. You see one is like clamped onto his shoulder, and you still have 2 harrying you. What do you want to do?
The one that's on his shoulder, would I take any negatives to try and knock it off him?
Not if you hit it.
What if I miss?
We'll see.
I'm going to try and poke it off him.
Okay. Attack -5.
I'll yell, mind the gap, as I try to hit it.
Actually, I'll say...
Wow.
Mind the gap!
Describe to me how you killed this Jakar off of Shale.
So, like, I'll rear Sheba around, and with one hand, I'll use the halberd, and I'll swing it, and, like, I'll swing it forward, and then I'll poke at the end, and basically just skewer it, because the halberds have a small little pike at the top.
Yep.
And I'll skewer it right in between its head, and then I'll try and lift it and flick it off of him.
Yeah, so you pierce right through it, and you just sort of like, as you grab the base of it, you sort of like fling, and it's like, it actually like flicks off of the pike, and sort of like, and you hear it hit the ground behind you and sort of like tumble a few times. Go ahead.
I say, I look forward to you returning the favor, as the nipping at my armor.
Yeah. Mahdga, you see this happen. You had some stern words with Jhin earlier, and now he's come to the rescue of your oafish friend. Shale, you don't really see this happen, but you feel the teeth like rip out of your body, and you no longer feel the weight of this wolf biting at you. You do have one in your hand. What do the 2 of you guys want to do?
I think Shale's going to be pretty happy that wolf isn't biting on him anymore. He's feeling pretty bad, but he's really mad at this one in his hand. So he's going to try to squeeze the life right out of it.
Yep.
Maintaining a strangle, I need to do that against their cunning.
Okay.
Batter up.
So what's my modifier on this?
On this, +3. Don't add the actual plus sign.
Yeah.
What does it look like when you crush this dog to death?
Yeah, literally Shale like looks over his shoulder, looks around, and just crushes the skull of this dog and drops it.
That's something I never want to hear again.
Yep. And you hear like you so Mahdga, you're uniquely located directly in front of him, where he's holding this dog out with his giant orangutan arms, and you hear the cracking of bone, and you hear like until you see that he clenches his fist, and the dog's like paws just like go limp, and like it twitches once, and he drops it to like on the ground.
I mean, Mahdga's had to hunt before, so she's okay with it.
Yeah.
Hello, Sweetie, however, is not as okay with it.
That's why I like to describe things for you guys.
I don't know.
Nem, you see from a distance Shale just crush the skull of this pack animal and drop it to the ground. You do see on the other side of him is Jhin still being harried by some of these Jakar.
Okay, just gonna go for another one.
All right, attack -3. Sorry.
Are any of them bloodied?
No.
These are all fresh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not how that works. Well,
Yeah, so because there's a moving Shale, the man on a horse, and two jumping dogs, it's difficult for you to aim through this in the waning sunlight as you sort of wind it back up and move ready. You can move in if you'd like.
it's not going to help my... it's not going to help anything for me to move.
That's true. Jhin, 2 attacks -3. Or 2 defense -3.
Yes, sir. Uno, dos, tres.
Okay.
Uno, dos. I know how to count to 4. That's 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you feel one of them like clamp onto your armor, and you just sort of shake it off, and you feel the teeth sort of slide off the metal of your arm, and the other one, as you're doing this, the other one leaps towards you, and you're easily able to rear your haft of your pole arm back and sort of like backhand it, and it sort of and hits the side. Shale, there are still two more attacking Jhin. Mahdga, there are two more attacking Jhin, and Jhin, it is your turn to strike back against these.
Yeah, I'll look down from my mount because they're like on the ground right now, right?
Yeah. You've shook them off.
And I'll try and take the head of the axe and just swing down from above.
Okay.
And that is a -5 still, yeah?
-3.
Minus trace, okay.
Oh wait, no.
No, it's
I'm sorry.
-3 to hit.
It's -5. Yep.
Yeah.
How do you kill this dog?
Just like I mentioned, I'll take the axe and I'll swing down, and I'm swinging down with the head, the sharp end of the axe, and I'll just try and kind of cleave the head or cleave whatever I catch on the.
Okay. Yeah. So you make like a downward swing towards these things, and the momentum carries, and you feel something hit. You feel something meaty hit the blade, and the next thing you see is sort of like a shadow tumble to the side as it leaves the blade. This shadow does not get back up.
I'm a little bit more composed now. Like I actually have the reins back in my hand. I'm not like bopping back and forth.
Yeah, you're not being attacked from all directions. Shale, you see Shale and Mahdga, you see one of these Jakar left attacking. What do you do?
I'm just gonna motion for Shale to grab the last one. And then, do I still see this lady in black and the weird slimy human?
So the lady in black is tending to the two, to Ludo and Bellin, sort of helping drag him away from the bloody fight. And now that you are right up here and have like time to look around when your friends aren't getting attacked, you do see there's a disgusting pile of matted fur and viscous just blood and fluid. And in the middle of this, almost like embryotic, is a figure, a humanoid figure, curled up, dead.
Okay.
Super dead.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess Shale's breathing really heavily, and there's obviously not a lot of strength left in him, but at Mahdga's order, he'll stride over and attempt to punch the crap out of this wolf.
Sure. Attack -5.
Nope.
Yep. So you're a little slower. You had a few bolts in you just a day or so ago, and you've had some chunks taken out of you as you sort of lumber over, and just plow your fist towards it, and it jumps out of the way. Mahdga, are you doing anything for your turn, or are you just examining this humanoid?
No, I'll take a whack at the wolf that's attacking him.
Okay.
I just want to make sure everybody
Yep.
is here.
You do see that. The only person who hasn't seen it is Nem. Jhin, you've actually seen it too, but I think you've been too busy.
Too preoccupied
Yeah.
to even care.
So,
-5.
Yep.
I swear.
So go ahead and defend -3.
Great. Good. This is what I wanted. Defend is okay, got it.
Yep.
-3.
Mm-hmm.
I critically
Wow.
hit the enemy. Critically
Wow.
hit. This is good. This is super.
You have armor though, right?
Light armor.
Okay. So that's not too bad.
That's awesome.
So you see Shale just sort of like, slam his fist in. The dog leaps to the side. You sort of swing at this dog, and it like just rounds on you as you swing. And as your staff like goes towards it, it leaps and bounds off of your staff and like scratches at your shoulder as it's leaping over you. You take 1 damage.
Okay.
Jhin, this Jakar is now on the opposite side of Shale and Mahdga from you. It looks like it's running away. You're not really sure. It hasn't rounded back around to attack yet. Nem, you see this. You see the wolf sort of like leap over Mahdga and is in clear view of you.
Yeah, she's gonna shoot at it.
Yep. Go ahead. So you're not. It's not your lucky day with this crossbow. You are much more well versed with your bow. But you sort of twing at this thing, and you're like, as you start cranking it back. This wolf, its entire pack has been destroyed, and you guys are violent monsters. It is beginning to run. It does not turn around to round on you guys, and it seems to be escaping back into the forest. Jhin, you're on horseback. If you want to pursue this wolf, you can, but it just seems to be a scared wolf receding into its home.
I have that crossbow. Yeah.
You do.
Would it be safe to say it's loaded or no?
It wouldn't be safe to say it's loaded. There's no way to secure a loaded bolt in a crossbow, so if you're riding with it, it would pop out anyway. You can say that it's locked back, we'll say. Actually, no, roll me a D100 and call high or low to see if it's locked back.
I'm just going to say low again.
Okay.
Roll 1D100.
It's locked back. So you can drop a bolt in it and fire this thing.
Yeah, so I'll drop my my halberd so that it points into the ground and doesn't fall on anyone.
Yep.
I don't have the stats for a crossbow. Does anyone?
It would be accurate -5.
Accurate -5. Just accurate -5?
Yep, that's the so roll
It's an accurate.
-5.
It's an accurate 1d8, and then it's okay.
So you succeed, and so Nem, what was the damage on you? You have a 1d10 because you have the ability,
Because
right?
I have marksman. It's 1d8.
So 1d8.
Plus anything for the critical?
Nope.
No. Okay, so let's roll 1d8.
Okay, so you kind of like slam your halberd down. You sort of grab this thing and you fire the crossbow, and you see it spin towards it, and you kind of catch it in its hind leg, and it like bumps forward, but it's still like slightly slower now. That it has a bolt sticking out of its hindquarters, but it's still loping towards the forest.
Can I take a shot?
Yes, because it is faster than Mahdga and Shale can get up to it. So Nem, you have the last clear shot, and if you miss, it gets away.
And I just yelled, Nem!
And you see the bolt sort of twink into the ground as this thing like quickly is like on 3 legs and dragging one behind it into the forest. And you see it kind of disappear into the undergrowth.
So it's if I roll over a 10, I lose the bolt.
Yeah.
Yes. Right?
Yeah. Over a
Go back up
10.
and count.
Over a 10, the bolt breaks. Or the arrow breaks. Under a 10, it's fine. 10 and under, I believe. Or 10 and over, it breaks. You guys have before you bleeding Ludo. Bellin is kind of pulling him back. This woman in black and this whatever the hell in between Shale, Mahdga, and Jhin. What are you guys doing?
I'll hop off Sheba and check her and kind of walk her over to Ludo and Bellum.
Okay. So yeah, you see that she has a few scratches down her right side, like of her flank, and like where like her back, like basically on either side of your legs, where your leg would go. There's rakes down that. It looks like you could kind of bandage her up. You could easily put some salves on that and heal her up. But you wouldn't ride her hard for the next few days while she's healing. And I'm not sure if you'd bring her into battle. That would be on you. You're more efficient with your horse. And you kind of ride over. Do you get off and lead her over to?
Yeah,
Ludo
I
and Bellum?
get off and lead her over, and I'm
Okay.
like kind of like petting her mane as I'm walking over to Ludo and Bellum.
Okay.
And checking on them.
Shale and Mahdga, what are you doing?
Shale's trying to put on a brave face. He's an ogre, he doesn't show weakness, but he's bleeding profusely, so he's slumped.
I'm immediately checking on Shale. That would have been the first thing that I did.
Okay. Yeah, you see that he has a few wounds that are closed from the. What are you wearing for armor, Shale? Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, so you see a few of the crossbow bolts that were in him from the previous from a fight ago that are starting to like heal up. You see like they're scabbed over. They're not like pussing and bleeding anymore. But on his right shoulder, he has a fresh mouthful of teeth. And you can see like a little bit of it has been like ripped as the animal was pulled away from it, and he's got a few like claw marks down his right side and arm.
I'm not medically trained or anything, but I definitely would be sort of, tying things up and patching him up as best
and wiping
as I
it
can.
away as you possibly.
Yeah.
Yep. Nem, what are you doing in the back? You see kind of everyone sort of scatter around to everybody. You're the closest person to Ludo, Bellin, and this lady. But you see Jhin is leading his horse over towards them.
These animals we killed, can we Can we use them for food?
The Jakar, you can. You haven't
Yeah,
seen
little wolves.
You haven't seen the Hunger Wolf yet.
No, the little wolves.
Yep, the little wolves you can. Yeah, you haven't. You would assume that the wolf the size of the Hunger Wolf you could use as food as well. You just haven't seen what happened to it.
Yeah, she's going to go over and start collecting the little guys because she wouldn't be able to carry the big one anyway,
Yeah.
and make her way over to the last one once she's kind of gathered 2 of them or 3 of them.
Yeah, so all 4 of them are right around the disgusting puddle of wolf meat and flesh. So as you go to walk over to start, like, you kind of like grab a stick and sort of like pick one of them up and sort of like, put it on it. And as you get like closer, you see that there is a puddle of goo and blood and viscera with like matted fur in it. And in the center is like a fetal position humanoid figure.
She's never seen magic like this before, right? Even being around witches?
I don't think so.
Okay. She'll shout over to the rest. She'll have the 4 wolves on like a stick that she's holding.
Yeah, Mahdga
that
and
she
Shale
uses
are
like a
right
skewer.
around her.
Yeah. She'll have them skewered and just, guys?
Yeah, you see,
And
like,
sort of
as
look over
you
it.
walk over and you're, like, skewing things, you see this, and then you, like, look up, and you see Shale is just standing there, breathing heavily over this corpse, and you see Mahdga. You can see Mahdga frantically moving around as she's, like, wiping things on the other side of Shale. You guys would hear her say, guys?
We saw him. The Wolfman. Give me just a minute, and I'll come help you check it out.
Go ahead.
Can I roll to poke it with a stick?
You can poke it with a stick. It does not move. It
Okay.
appears to be completely dead.
She's going to poke it again for good measure.
Okay, it still doesn't move.
Okay.
My halberd's still nearby over there.
It is stuck in the ground, halberd side down. Jhin, you have dismounted and walked over to Ludo, Bellin, and this woman. As you get close to this woman, it's starting to get nightfall, so your visibility is going right out the window. But as you get closer and closer to this woman, you begin to recognize her, and her name is Lestra. She is a member of your caravan, and you would recognize her. I would say you would recognize what she is immediately. She's a black cloak.
Where did I remember that name from? That's something I read in the book.
It is something you read in the book. I would hope so. It's in the
God.
book. The black cloaks are.
They're like the guards of the queen.
They're the elite fighting force of the Temple of the Sun.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was wrong then.
Yep. Yeah, they are like Templars, essentially, like that kind of thing. They are the arm of the. They're often called the Twilight Friars. Is their colloquial name? That is their actual name. The colloquial name is the Black Cloaks, and they are a monastic order in Yenderos. That's their main area. They also have like a monastery up inside the Titans. But they are essentially the fighting arm, or one of the fighting arms of the Temple of the Sun. So you would notice her by her garb as to what she is.
Okay. And I'll kind of like crouch down and kind of wipe some of the scratches or blood off of me a little bit. I didn't get too badly beat up there, but there's a lot of battle scars and scratches.
Yeah.
And I'll check on it was Ludo that was bit.
Ludo, yeah, you can see that his right thigh is I wouldn't say mangled, but it's a massive mouth. It's just ripped flesh out of this thing. So he's going to need to be splinted and cleaned, and he's not going to be ranging for a while.
Well, look at this, Ludo. You finally got the vacation you talked about.
And he like grimaces through the pain, and you can see that he's like sort of more pallid than normal at the loss of blood. And Bellin is like holding him down as he's like struggling against the pain. He's kind of like trying to hold him down and keep his legs straight. And you see that, like, as you get closer, from a distance, it looked like Lestra was assisting them, and it looks like she's more or less just standing there and watching them kind of struggle.
And I'll look up. I'll be like, "You make a better door than you do a window. What are you doing?"
Well, I found them under attack by the Hunger Wolf, and what I want to know is why it came after them.
It's in the name. It was hungry.
And she like looks over your shoulder and says, was it?
And he looks over. He's like, was hungry?
It appears to not be a wolf at all.
I see that,
Mhm.
but we do have a man dying. The wolf will
Roll
Man-
vigilant +3.
While you're doing that, Nem is just picking up the arm and dropping it. If when you look over your shoulder,
And every time you do it, makes like a wet noise as it hits the viscera.
Oh, how do I roll a 0?
Because you're bad at everything. Because
you
you,
put the plus sign.
added a plus sign. So just roll it again with no plus, just 3.
Oh, just 3. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
is that minus for your plus 3?
That's a +3.
Oh.
So when she motions over your shoulder and you kind of look back, when you turn back, you see that both Ludo and Bellin look uncomfortable.
So my demeanor changes slightly, unfortunately. And I look to Ludo, no, Bellum rather, and I'm like, so, do tell me, what were you guys doing out here, and why would this attack you?
Ludo grumbles and nurses his leg as he is bleeding out. Bellin, however, looks to you and says, "We were here like everyone else. We're gathering wood for the fires. I don't know why the wolf attacked us."
Here, let me help, and I'll squeeze Ludo's leg.
And he's... in
Oh, I'm
pain.
sorry. I'm not good at this. I do better when the truth is presented to me.
You're the worst. Roll me...
Nestra, do you want to help?
You see like a devilish grin across her face. Roll me... I think it's persuade?
Okay.
I'm
And persuasive.
Yeah. I'm just trying to...
Plus, minus.
There's gonna be something on there. I'm just trying to figure out. What the hell
I am going mob style on this guy's leg.
Yeah, you really are. Let's say it's a +3.
Hey, okay. And I'll say, after everything I've done for you, getting you out of the jaws of that wolf, helping you range, and I'll squeeze a little bit harder. Come on, do be a little bit more truthful with me.
Yeah.
We've come very far together.
You people are, I'm supposed to be the bad guy. You guys are awful.
I am the just one.
Yeah. So he panics, and you can see that like you're just applying undue pressure to his brother's mangled leg, and he says, "Oh, wait, stop!" He says, "Look, can this wait till the camp? Can we get him help, please?"
I may have to amputate if it has to wait till the camp.
Can you
And
hear
I
them
look
now?
I look over to my halberd.
He's gonna bleed out. Can we get someone treat him, please?
Can I hear
I'll tell you
them?
everything. Yeah, they're hurriedly talking rather loudly.
Nem's gonna be like, Do you need your weapon back, Jhin?
I may in a moment. Mahdga, I don't mean to order you around. What's the best way to say this? You kind of hear him saying aloud. May I please have your help in healing this man?
Yeah, so I'm literally pissed that we came out here to save them, and they're not, Shale is fucking super hurt. So I'm gonna just storm over there. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna raise my staff and fucking whack the shit out of his leg.
He howls in pain.
And then I'll say, "You'll get your help when you tell us the truth."
Oh man, it's a long story. That's why he wants to go back to camp.
I'll look to Mahdga. I'll be like, I'll amputate it if the time comes, but I think he may die in us before we get our story. I feel there's a bit more at play here.
Nem's holding up the sticks of food. Can we go back and cook this first? She's just shaking wolf meat.
I am a tactician as well.
Lestra looks to you and says, "I'll take them back myself. I'll watch them." And she begins to kind of fireman carry. She begins to lift him up over her shoulder. Ludo.
What do I know about the Black Cloaks?
Are
they trustworthy?
You would believe so. Absolutely.
Okay, then.
Yeah. So you're an Ambrian born and bred, true and true. So the typical Ambrian is like any good God-fearing Christian man. You believe that Prios is the one God. You believe that Father Jessibagaya is... Father Jessibagaya is the leader of the the Church of the Sun, and he was a Black Cloak. And the black, like I said, so if you have the Queen's Rangers as her guard, and then you have Harengol as the leader of the Rangers, I believe, and then you have like the Queen's actual knights and guards, and then you have the Church, and the Church's, essentially the Church's Rangers are the Black Cloaks. They're who go out. Often you'll see if there's a church-sanctioned witch hunter, they're a Black Cloak. So the Church's militant arm is them. So if you're a faithful Ambrian, you would believe they're good to go. Granted,
they do no wrong.
They have their own motives, but their motives are the right hand of the Church. So you would believe more or less the same kind of thing.
Yeah. So then I will make no effort to stop her. I believe her 100% that she'll take care of it.
So she begins to fireman carry him, and Bellin is behind him trying to help in any way he can as his brother's bleeding out.
If you run, I will amputate your brother's legs.
He looks back to you.
Legs.
I won't go anywhere without him.
Good to know.
You guys are left alone with Nem, who has 4 wolves on a stick, and this disgusting pile of person.
Do I know anything about hunger wolves at all? Is this a thing?
No, unless you have beast lore, you don't know. You don't know anything more than you knew before. Unless you have beast lore, you wouldn't know anything more than you know. It appears to be a large, a dire wolf. This does not fit with wolves.
So poking around, are there any items that might be used magically to turn him into this thing?
Roll me resolute at 0.
Okay. I swear, I quit. I quit this game.
Yeah. So what you see before you, are you guys getting down to actually examining this person?
Yeah, I would, for sure.
She's been poking it for a while.
So what you see is, you see a humanoid figure. As you guys got to get in there, and are you getting your hands up in this? I mean, you were poking it, and then you picked up its arm. You see on its arm, you see that it's a female form. Now that you're all up on its business, on its right arm, the arm you kind of pick up, there is a rusted iron band on its forearm, like a decorational bracelet kind of thing. And as you look closer, Nem, you see pointed ears underneath the hair of this person.
She'll slowly put the hair behind the ear and look up to the group.
Does it look like a changeling?
It doesn't. It looks like an elf. You've slain an elf.
Oh, that's not good for our reputation.
To be fair,
It was a wolf before it was an elf.
But it's an elf now, and we killed what it was. He kind of hums, and he's like, a whole camp of deceitful, terrible people, and we had to be the ones that killed the elf.
I killed the elf.
It's a we thing here, Shale.
We'll share the blame. I didn't hit many of my shots, but we'll share the blame.
I may have been the first one to deck it with my halberd. Where is it, by the way? And I go looking for it.
It's literally a few feet away from you, just kind of
I mean, we all sort of have an idea of where we are right now, correct?
Location-wise, on the map? Yeah, so
Yeah.
if we go to the map, you guys are in a general this way direction.
Okay. Are there? I mean, do we know of any sort of elf, towns or anything that are close?
You would know the whole forest.
Just full of elves. The
whole
thing.
forest. Yep. No one knows where the elf cities are. No one knows where the elves are. Occasionally, Jhin, you might see an elf in Ambrian City. They don't really interact with barbarians unless they need to, unless the barbarians are stepping out of line, which is why, Nem, you probably wouldn't have seen one. You guys don't really delve, like, the Baiagas don't really delve too deep into Davokar. They mostly stay on the fringe outskirts assisting people that get injured. Mahdga, you mostly spend a lot of time with the Baiaga, and Shale, you have little memory of what happened before you found Mahdga. So yeah, you guys would have no experience with elves. Jhin, you might have seen one if you were in any other big city recently besides New Berendoria. There's not a lot of elf activity there. If you've been to Yindaros or Yonderos anytime recently, or maybe Agrella, you might have seen one. But it'd be like in passing, and you'd be like, oh, neat, and then you quickly like left, because most people are like, elves are bad, or they want to kill us, or they're here for ulterior motives, kind of thing.
Yeah, and they're rare enough where if you kill one, it's like kind of a blight against that clan of elves, right?
It's sort of a blight against all of them.
Yeah. So it's never a good thing for elf-human relations.
Yeah, so like if the elves are in a human city, they're there as representatives to make sure that they toe the line. The humans sort of like the Ambrians sort of just like, yeah, no, we won't go in the forest, promise. And then they send people into the forest. They don't take it too serious. You would know as a knight. Roll me cunning.
Cunning. All right. Cunning. Any plus minus?
No, just go ahead and 0.
Is it an aim? No, never mind. It's not an Ambrian social thing because I have doubles on that. Ooh.
What do you have doubles on Ambrian social things?
The character gets second chance to succeed when taking a social challenge within its own society and does not have to roll dice unless it strives to accomplish something which is near impossible.
That's social, though.
This would be knowledge-based more than
no.
anything. But as a knight, I think it would be... I'll let you roll doubles on it, just because I think as a knight, you would have a better chance of knowing than anyone else.
Still a failure.
Nope. Okay, so you don't know. So what I said before about elves, that's what you know thus far. Okay. You haven't had any interaction with them. You haven't been on any elf-related missions. So yeah, that's more or less what you know. Yeah, so you guys are gathered around what you now see as an elf.
If elves are in the forest with human dealings, then obviously the 2 that we just sent back have quite a story to tell. And if anyone's going to get blamed for this elf's death, it's going to be them. We came out here to save them, and it looked like a wolf. Should we bury the body, or what do we do? Do we leave it here? I think we should.
I was about to say that. I think we should bury it.
Burying
honor
it makes us
them.
look complicit.
Burying is our way.
We just leave the body here to rot in the sun?
No, we take it to the camp.
You want to take the evidence to camp with us?
If we believe we are not the ones responsible, that is the right and just thing to do.
Certainly not the ones responsible, but it's not going to look that way if we travel up there with a dead elf carcass.
And if either of the 3 we sent back feel the need to divulge what they've been told or seen, the ones who buried it.
Do we have anything to
guilty.
cover this body? Do we have anything to cover it with? Wrap it up with?
Are you asking me, or are you asking each other?
I'm asking them.
Okay.
I have this armor.
You just carry it with you?
He's just got his hobo
Do we,
sack.
would it be safe to assume we have an extra blanket in our satchel that the ogre is carrying?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will hand Jhin the blanket, and we'll end to end at least cover the body before we bring it back.
How outlandish is it that it was somebody who was on the caravan and just happened to have been killed in the initial attack?
I mean, it's an elf. Anything more than a cursory glance would point out that it's an elf. Like, if you get up to it, the only reason you guys didn't notice immediately is because you were in combat and its hair was matted and down. So as soon as you guys investigated and moved hair out of the way, you saw the pointed ears. It was a dead giveaway.
Let's say it's, and he kind of grimaces at saying it. Let's say its head's been mangled and beyond recognition. Anything else about these elves that make it Notable.
And I feel like if we damage the body any further than it's already been damaged, we're asking for more trouble. Let's just wrap the body and bring it back.
What if, once we get information, we send the body and the people responsible to one of the cities?
We send the body in a note.
With the people, with the guards, since they killed.
Our bad.
As like here, get justice.
I understand what you're saying, and I think let's bring the body back to camp. Let's get the story, and we'll figure something out from there.
I don't like it when you smile behind your hands, Mike. It really, really upsets me.
Are you sure you don't want to
as a player?
No, let's not do that.
We're not doing that.
That seems like a bad idea. That's a Jhin idea, and those are bad ones.
Not all the time.
I think if Mahdga seems to have come to a decision on what's to happen with it, Shale will step up and scoop up the blanket wrap bundle carefully. I mean, he feels a certain responsibility, and he takes care with the body.
Do we take this old mess that was covering it so that they believe us that it was not intentional from what we know?
What are you trying to take with you?
Whatever. You said it's goop, but you said there's also fur and stuff. That was...
yeah, so you didn't see that, but you see the puddle of goo.
So it's not... There's no fur or anything anymore. It's all goo.
Oh, no, there's fur. But if you... So you're down there, right? Do you like, try to scoop some of it up to try to cover this person?
No.
Okay.
I'm just looking at it.
As you're, like, looking at it, do you, like, kind of poking around, because you're poking around the person, you see that this isn't like a covering. This isn't like a wolf skin. This is like... It looks like... If you ever, so you would know since you're a hunter, if you ever skin an animal, that's pretty much what this looks like. It looks like the skin
it
of a
looks
wolf
like the skin came off of this person.
in chunks.
I believe that it would still, I mean, we could kill any wolf and say, hey, this skin came off of the wolf.
Okay.
We'll bring the body back and have a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a clean skin.
So we'll go back to, yeah.
Okay. So you guys head back. So we'll end our scene in the woods and bring you guys back to the caravan. You have the elf woman wrapped up in a blanket of some kind of covering. Where do you go once you return to the caravan? Are you making a beeline straight for any specific area?
Nem's gonna drop off the food.
Okay, yeah. So you just kind of stop by the bonfire that they're making and. Sort of, they're just striking the fire now as they, waited a few minutes. They basically, like, the guards scattered out and the screaming stopped until recently when someone yelped, because someone was squeezing their destroyed leg, and then someone whacked it with a stick. But the guards sort of came back in, and a few more people bundled up sticks as they saw you guys ride out to try to figure out what this noise was. They were like, oh, they kind of have it. We'll defend closer. So they're just striking the matches to light the fire now, or striking the stones. So you kind of drop off these just dead wolves. The rest of you three, where do you head?
I think that with this elf information now and what happened in the woods, I would definitely want to know what was happening. So I'll have Shale find a good spot to maybe put this body so that, we can go back to it when we need to.
Okay.
And then I'll just ask Jhin, are you ready to have a conversation with these guys?
More than ready, he says as he stomps his halberd into the ground.
Good.
So you're going to head off to find Lestra and Ludo and Belen? Okay.
Shale will find like a place, probably towards the central area of where the caravans camp for the night, to put this body, but make kind of a show of putting it down for everyone around that this is his. Kind of meet eyes with anyone who sees him do it.
He pees on it
before he leaves it.
Okay.
Just to make sure nobody messes with it while he's gone.
Okay.
Before he follows the others.
Yeah, and like the blanket gets moist because like blood and viscera is kind of like seeping into it, but you kind of like unceremoniously plop it down there, and you do manage to keep it more or less covered up. and you kind of stare and eyeball everybody as you sort of like storm off. We'll say that you guys head towards Argasto's tent. That's where you believe that Black Cloak Lestra would bring these two injured, if not criminals. Nem, you catch up. You see, you drop off your food. You see Shale just drop the body and stare at everyone menacingly, and you kind of follow them in to this area. You see outside the tent is Lestra, and she is talking with Bellin. You don't see Ludo. What do you guys do as you approach?
I'll nod to Jhin just as like the go ahead to start doing his awesome interrogation talkies.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of does like a bow and over the I guess over the top, and he'll walk towards them and be like, "Where is our fair friend Ludo?"
Lestra looks to you, and then she motions her head towards the tent as she turns back to Bellin, and she says, "What were you doing out there? What was this wolf tracking you for? What have you done?"
Is there a proper way to address the Black Cloaks, ladies or men?
Sure, but I don't think so. It's whatever reverence you would give. Like, I would say like a priest. I'm sure the Black Cloaks have their own internal monastic traditions, but similar to how like a knight would greet another knight, like you guys have your own thing. This would be like above a commoner, so you'd probably call her lady or Black Cloak, like title.
I haven't gotten her name yet, though, have I?
You have. She's part of the caravan, so you recognized her as Lestra.
Lady Lestra, if I may.
She looks to you. If you may, what?
Take over for this line of questioning.
I'm handling it quite well. What else could you ask?
Ask and act on. And he takes the haft of the halberd, and I'm going to try and sweep Bellum off his feet.
Sure. Roll me attack. We'll do attack +2.
Plus dose? Okay. So that, +2.
Yeah, you sort of whack him like in low calf ankle area, and he just sweeps and poof down, not expecting you to strike him.
I'm going to twirl the halberd and put the point of the halberd on his throat.
Okay. You see him like start to scramble to get back up. What the fuck are you? Why are you like? Huh?
Hut, tut, tut. No,
and he like swallows
stay
harshly.
Stay there. I don't have a lot of time. Your brother may be dying, and I want to question him as well. Now, answer the lady's question. What were you doing being tracked by this thing?
He looks to you, and he like kind of pushes your pike away from his throat so he can speak to you.
I'll pull it back. I'm not going to push it off to the side. I decide where this goes, and if it's in your throat, that's so be it.
He starts to position himself so he can tell you a tale, but he starts to slide out from under your pike and sit up. He doesn't stand, but he tries to prop himself up on his elbows. And he says, "I still glaring at the pike. You guys are all here by this time, and he says, fuck. We went into the Davokar. It's no surprise that my brother and I are pathfinders. We lead intrepid groups into the Davokar. They believed we had found a location in Dark Davokar. And you would know that as an Abrian, Dark Davokar is the colloquial term for the interior, whereas Light Davokar is where the barbarians live. At this point in time. He says we never reached the planned target. It was too far. It was too difficult. The vines choked the path. The creatures there were too strong. But we did find a small tomb. We delved into the tomb and we found gold and jewels and anything that you'd want when you're delving into the Davokar. but the group's leader, Gorak, he only wanted one thing. We found, and he like glances towards Nem. We found like an ancient barbarian burial site, very old, very old. There was a crown atop the head of the buried, I assume, king, and he only wanted that. We brought it back and all of our riches back to Thistle Hold, and we lived as kings. But then everything went sideways. Members of the adventuring group began to die or become different. And shortly after I left, Gorik and his companion Alahara disappeared. They talked to the mayor there, Night Pitch, you know. And I felt as if someone was watching us. I knew we had to leave. We haven't been back for months. I figured it would be best to check on things and see how it was. That's why we're returning now.
Were any of your companions elves?
His eyes narrow and says, no.
That negates that.
The elves would never let us delve that deep, or take what we took. You would know that.
Okay.
Yeah, you would know that, like, the elves, like I said, the elves in the cities are to make sure people don't do that. Like, that's their whole purpose, is like, hey, we'll have some human-elf relations, don't go in the forest, I'll kill you.
These are repercussions for your actions.
Oh. Yes.
Cause and effect, that's very good, Nem.
Yes.
Nem will, like, glare at him like she's treating him like a fucking idiot. Maybe you deserved your fate then.
He kind of, like, just stammers, he doesn't really know what to say.
Was it worth it?
I mean, if we make it out alive, it wasn't that bad.
What if you make it out with 3 legs between the two of you?
Better than being dead, I guess.
Nem is going to look to Jhin. The remaining elves who know of this will not let this stand. We need to take him and the body to the city and let them have their justice. How they decide.
What is the words, justice the way the Ambrians do it? That sounds fair.
It's not up to the Ambrians. It's up to the elves. Otherwise, there'll be more of them.
So we give it to an elf tribunal?
We give it to the city and let them reach out to the elves. I'm assuming there are sometimes elves in the city. Nem would have seen them in passing when she traveled around in caravans heading to the city if they were like, you know.
Yeah.
She's never been there, but she knows they go there.
Yeah. You would know that there are cities that have, like, one elf representative in the city.
Take it. That's what she's saying. Take it to one of the representatives and let them, so that we're not in it. Just, here's what we found. Here you go.
What's the church's stance on elves?
So the official Ambrian stance on elves is, yes, we won't go into the forest. The realistic one is Thistle Hold exists as, like, essentially a port in the storm of adventurers that want to go in the forest. You basically know, like, your positions are, you are a farmer or a merchant. If you're lucky, you might become a knight, and even that is fairly boring because you decimated the barbarian tribe. It scared the rest of them into the forest, and only now are like, hey, we'll talk with you and do trades and things like that. Essentially, they're just cloth-wearing, axe-wielding, spear-wielding. Like, you guys came in with shining armor, and, like, so you have no real competition here besides the elves. So the only way to make a name for yourself is by going in that forest, or hoping a war happens. So if you want to live the life of a farmer, so be it. If you want something more, and you want riches and gold and whatever, the adventure lies in Davokar.
I look to Shale and Mahdga, who are here, right? Still.
Yep. So you would maybe as a knight, you might have an inkling that, like, you may have an inkling at least. The Ordo Magica is very interested in the things that happen there, and the church is also very interested. In fact, the church actually has a church in the forest near the barbarian Carvosti. It was built on the ruins of a church. And all parties are very interested in the things that exist in the forest, and it's widely believed by nobility and those that are educated that the forest grows on top of ruins of an ancient empire. So, like, there's untold riches and history and knowledge and magic in there, or that's what anyone of educated value would tell you.
Lestra, could we trust you to take these men to receive their justice as Preus would desire? I'm sure he doesn't want more of his lambs heading to a war with another race at this present moment.
Yes, that is my intent. When we get to Thistle Hold, I will travel the next caravan. Yes, to Temple Wall.
And the body, so they can have closure.
The body. And she motions towards the fire.
Yes.
You would best be leaving that in Temple in Thistle Hold. I believe there's a representative of the Iron Pact there.
Okay.
I look to Shale and Mahdga. Any objections with this arrangement?
All, though I do wonder if our friend is aware of what actually died out there in the woods, what we saved him from.
I'm regretting it moment by moment that we saved him, but do you? He looks to Bellum.
No. He looks to you like he has no idea what you're talking about.
I'm going to get really close to where he's sitting, and I'm just going to say, thanks to your arrogance and your stupidity, you angered an elf, which we then saved you from in the woods. That big wolf that attacked you was an elf.
When you say elf, he winces. And Jhin, you recall that he did see the elf when Lester pointed over to it, and you see that he winced again, almost as if knowing what you're saying right now. He knew, he didn't know that it was an elf, but as soon as he figured out that it was an elf, he knew why he was being attacked.
One last thing I say as I kind of push the pike a little bit towards his throat again.
Mm-hmm.
Why does that word bother you so? Elf.
Because they're trying to kill us.
Any
as you saw.
extra special reason?
Nope, just the loss of life is a pretty great concern of mine. As he's looking up the length of your of your pike.
Is that? Am I getting the whole story? I feel.
Yeah. He seems as though he, like you said, there was something. He knew he delves. He knew anyone who goes in the forest knows that you might run afoul of elves, and if he delved deep and into a tomb, that's a pretty good reason to anger the elves. And he did say that in the hold he felt like he was being watched. So it's safe to believe that an elf was probably watching him, or another jealous adventurer. One of the two. Only one of those is very scary.
Is there any way of giving justice on the road, a branding system for thieves or?
Sure.
Is that something that would be used by law? If I could brand him and his brother as trespassers, and is there a symbol for that?
Sure.
Symbol for someone who crosses elves.
There might not be that symbol, but because that's a relatively new thing, and as I said, it's not a super enforced law. It's more
maybe it's someone who's wanted by elves, or wanted in general.
I'm sure you can mark him with something. It's really more of if the elves know what that means that really matters, because people are just going to not be near that guy, which doesn't really do any good either way. You can brand him with whatever the hell you want for elf enemy. That doesn't affect the elves' justice at all.
I'll simply just brand him as trespasser.
Okay, yeah, you would have as a knight despite the fact that you're an unlanded knight, you would have some kind of law implements, because a landed knight would be able to administer his own brand of justice on his lands. So I'm sure you have some kind of tool, like essentially a keyring of letters that you just sort of burn them in. Think like the P for pirate on Captain Sparrow.
Before he actually does that, I'm gonna put a hand on his hand with these little tools, and I'm gonna look at this guy and say, I think it's safe to say you care for your brother and you wish for him to live. Yes.
Yes.
I promise that we will make sure that does not happen.
That he doesn't live?
That his brother doesn't live.
Okay.
Yeah. If you tell anyone that you were not the ones that killed this elf, we came out there to help you. We tried to save your life, and all of us were in danger. All of us got hurt, and I think that you killed this elf. Would you agree?
Roll persuade +3.
Nem's gonna be behind her like, I saw him kill her.
Persuasive +3?
Yeah. He looks to you and says, yes, I killed the elf, of course.
Can I hit him?
You can hit him.
Can I try to persuade him?
You can't like double persuade a person.
Okay.
I mean, unless you have some other.
She was
way
gonna threaten him. She was gonna say, he won't be the, he won't be the most of your worries. And she'll look over at Shale.
I gave Nem my pike as I went to go get my branding tools.
No, she just has a loaded crossbow that she actually isn't very good at shooting, so whoops.
Yeah.
I just have to assume, I guess, that what I said worked,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, he agrees with what you said.
Okay.
So you really can't tell that whether he's lying or not. You did threaten the life of his brother, so that's,
So I'll nod to Jhin and back up so that he can do his thing.
Yeah, he says,
Nem will hold him for Jhin. She'll get behind him with her bow and put the rook of the, the bow.
Now tell me, what do you prefer, your left or your right arm?
He says, he looks down at his right arm, and you can see that, like, that's where, you can see that on the left side of him is where his sheath is, which means he's probably right-handed. He looks down at his right arm and he says, my left, and he reaches out his left towards you.
I don't care, and I brand him on the cheek.
He screams in agony as you stick him with a hot poker that says, like,
I'll
T.
hold him by the hair, too, just as I brand him.
Okay. And Nem has her bow around his neck and is holding him back as well.
And I'll walk away, say, Ludo, I'll be with you in a moment.
He screams as you pierce it into his face, and like he falls to the side and is breathing as you're like walking into Argasto's tent.
Yep.
She'll let him go and then kick him over.
As you like kick him over, and he like holds his face, and as soon as he touches, he's like, ah! As the salt in his hand sort of hurts even more. The fresh burn. He like kind of gets up to his arm. And he says, "There was one more thing." As he's like wincing in the pain, he says, the burn reminded me of the campfire night. Everyone held the skull. The crown was fused to it. I held it. It was warm to the touch, and I could almost feel the fire reflecting in its eyes, looking at me. But I thought it was just a trick of the light.
For that, your brother will actually get it on his left arm.
Yeah, and he just cries in pain as he adjusts to the fact that his face is just melted off.
And I mumble as I walk away. I'm like, see, I can be just.
He looked at me. I'm a nice guy. You walk into Argasto's tent and attempt to do the same thing there.
I mean, like, if Augusto's like sitting there talking to him, I'm not just gonna be like, "Hey, hold up."
Yeah, so like there is someone treating Ludo, like wrapping, bandaging his legs. You see that they're like they have like a dropper and they're like putting like a tincture into the wound, into like the bite marks. And Augusto looks up to you and he says, "By the sounds of it, you have dealt with the brother outside."
He's alive, but he is branded, and I look at the brand, which might have a couple flecks of skin on it still. I have one thing I have to do here, and I'll be on my way.
And you can see there's like a brazier in the tent to keep it warm, and you can relight it on the coals. And he says, "What happened? Why are they being branded? I was under the impression this was a wolf attack. What?"
They are trespassers. They entered the dark Davokar and sullied some ruins there, and now they are also murderers of an elf. That is what just happened. They killed an elf.
And he was sitting, and he stands quickly. Like, his eyes were wide as you were like, "They're trespassers in the dark Davokar." He stands, and he says, "Oh,
Tut, tut, tut.
no. Do whatever you'd like." And he, like, motions towards the body. He says, "Elves are bad news. We need to leave. We need to pack up." And he calls out to he calls out to the guard that's inside. He says, "Get it going. Let's go."
Thank you. And then I'm like, Ludo, is he like conscious?
He's conscious. He's just outside through a thick tent wall, and you hear like, Oh, and Ludo is inside. Sorry, that's right. Ludo is inside. He is. You know what? He's not conscious because they're applying some pretty nasty stuff to his leg, and the pain and blood loss would have made him pass out.
And I'll lean in really close. I don't care if he's like awake at this point. I'll be like, I thought I could trust you. There's a very, very small amount of people I could trust. And while I said I wouldn't brand you on the face, and then I just brand him on the face.
And he's asleep or he's unconscious, and the hot is like, and he wakes up, and you can see him
and I'm just
squirm.
holding his head down with my other hand.
You can see his like limbs kick out, and the person healing him looks at you like, "What the fuck?" As she's like holding his leg down, trying to like continue bandaging the clearly like busted up leg.
And this is what happens when you cross me. And then I'll let go of his head and walk away.
Sweet.
Nem is going to look to Mahdga and just be like, "Who made him the law around here, huh?" And then just try to go back to the fire and just start like skinning and eating and helping, and she'll make sure Shale eats because he doesn't look great.
What do you guys do with the elf?
It's a blanket burrito right now.
Yeah.
First of all, did
We're not gonna
he
eat
say that this skull with the crown that everyone touched is somewhere else, or here where we are?
He didn't say either.
All right.
He said that everyone touched it. Like he basically said, like around the campfire, everyone get to look at this sweet skull thing, and it was one to the touch, and he felt like the eyes were following him, like the sockets had like a glint from the fire. Felt like they were following him. He said they lived like kings when they returned to Thistle Hold for a time until people started disappearing and or changing, and that he felt like he was being watched, so he and his brother left, and that was a few weeks ago.
Guys, I feel like whatever's happening here has something to do with the skull that they found with the crown. I believe that is probably how the elves found them in the first place. I don't want any trouble with the elves. We don't need trouble with the elves.
Word of our community's acclaim
Let's just
spreads.
say bring the body to Thistle Hold, Jhin. Did I hear that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I believe we do what she said and try and return this body to Thistle Hold somehow. But I don't like the idea of this skull being anywhere near anywhere that we are, or being out there at all. I feel like that's something that should definitely get returned.
What about the bracer that we found on the elf? Does that have any bearing, you think?
I think we're returning an elven body no matter what we do. My hope is that the two who are actually responsible for this will take responsibility. However, we can't guarantee that that's what's going to happen.
And I looked at him like, I have a feeling I've made an impression, and he kind of chuckles. I think they'll take the right fault that they deserve for it.
Then you
Lester will be there as well. Sorry.
You don't know humans very well.
And I look to Lestra because she's still here, right?
Yeah. You guys, I assume you guys are like... I mean, she's around. The camp isn't that big.
And I'll say to Lestra, you agree with our point of view that they killed this elf. They provoked it, killed it. Correct?
She looks to you and says, "It matters not who killed the elf. What matters is getting them back to a temple wall."
Of course. But if it comes up, and he smiles and walks away.
She like nods to you.
Nem is going to eat. She's going to nom a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to retire to her tree.
Okay.
With her stone and her backpack like this.
Like tied to her.
She tied herself around the tree and then has this under her arms.
I will check on Shale.
Okay.
Shale's still in a bad way. He's been pretty quiet. Almost sulky throughout all of this torture and interrogation and all of this bad stuff. So he's probably like kept to himself mostly, gone back to where he left the body and kind of just like squatted guard doggish over it, or nearby it, I should say.
Okay. So real quick, Nem, you can do one of your abilities once per day, correct?
That's what I was reading. I already healed. I healed Jhin for 1 point in the tower. That was still today, right?
Oh, that was
No,
the
You
alchemy
healed
one.
Shale for 1 and me for like 4.
So the tower was a day ago, at
Okay.
least. So I'll tell you when days pass or how many days pass, but it's going to be on you to remember to actively use your ability on those days. So 1 day has passed fully. You can use it again today.
So I have 2 abilities to heal. I have the Medicus.
One is per adventure. One is per day. I
Okay,
believe.
so alchemy is per adventure,
Yep.
and Medicus is per day, and it's. How did I heal multiple people?
You can do it
It's
once per patient per
person.
day.
Okay, so I'll heal everybody right now with Medicus for today.
Yeah, so I'll just walk up to Nem's tree and just kind of look up and say, Nem, are you still up there? Are you still awake?
Yeah, I'm trying to protect with a stone. What's good? She'll just. Oh, it's you. And she'll just untie and then tie her bag up there, take a few things out, because she knows what she wants, and tie the bag up there, take a few things in her teeth, and just start climbing down.
I just
Like a squirrel.
I would really appreciate it a lot if you could take a look at Shale for me. He's real bad off.
Of course. You can take a look.
So naturally, you heal 1 toughness per day. So it's been 1 day. Everyone heal 1.
Okay.
And you can use
1d8 when using an herbal cure.
right, which you don't have. You already
Okay,
use
so-
one. So you can do 1d4.
So 1d. I roll 1d6.
1d4. The Medicus ability heals
He's
1d4
an
toughness when not using. Are you adept?
A successful cunning
then
test
1d6.
heals 1d6 of patient's toughness.
Yep, I didn't realize you were adept.
So, yes.
So
'Cause
everyone
I'm
can heal
a
1d6.
fucking G.
So roll
'Cause you're
1d6 for
I'll do it.
everybody.
I'll do it. I want to do it. Hold on. That's for Shale.
Huzzah! Thank you.
That's for Mahdga, and that's for Jhin.
I'm good.
I'm doing it anyway because I can. So just take it.
Well, I'm healed to full.
Take it all.
You're gonna. You can give it to him. That's.
And every night of rest will heal you 1. So you healed 1 from the night of the tower. You'll heal 1 more tonight. So tonight.
I haven't been hit yet this campaign. Not to rub it in anyone's face.
I don't want to say.
That's because you're a ranger. and no one's attacked with range. Actually, it's mostly because Shale defended.
They missed.
Shale defended and they missed, and then he charged the archers.
I
and
dodged
made
4
them-
attacks last game.
So everyone will heal tonight 1 point, and that is the end of tonight's scene. On the morrow, however, I need Mahdga to roll me
Nope, I don't want
vigilant.
to. Okay. Just 0.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a success, finally.
Cool. Well, that will come into play a little bit later.
Oh, come on. But 1 success.
Yeah, it's a success for later. A success right now for later. You'll be fine. So the caravan quickly, like, you guys get a few bare hours of sleep as people are gathering their stuff. You guys didn't have a lot of stuff, taken out of your caravans, so that it packs up fairly quickly. Food is cooked. You guys are able to eat, and most of you can like sleep a little bit on the bumpy wagons. However, as you guys have passed the river Eblis, and you are making your way towards Thistle Hold. As was said earlier, you are skirting the forest because bandit activity has been on the plains. You guys think there might be less. Caravan leader Argasto does not believe so quite as much. So you guys are proceeding towards Thistle Hold, as far as you can tell, when spring rain hits. And it starts as a growing storm of dark clouds swirling torrentially around you guys as you proceed. And the closer you get to Thistle Hold, like the longer you travel into your day, the darker and darker these clouds get. She's like, a crack of thunder and a peal of lightning across the sky. You see it in the distance, and you see then the clouds break and the rain just comes down in sheets. It's just pouring. It's like, Jhin, it's to the point where like you want to tether Sheba and get off of Sheba. Your like parts of your boots are filling, parts of your armor is uncomfortably. You're wet everywhere. The cloth vestments you wear underneath it, they're soaked to the bone. You're cold. Sheba doesn't want to walk, and you see like her hooves are like in mud. It's getting difficult for the wagons to even proceed further. It looks like, as far as when you're ranging out, it looks like this storm goes on, and you see it behind you, and you see it behind you, on. And it's not that uncommon for storms to happen in spring, more towards the fall, this kind of a storm, but this is fairly common that storms happen. This one seems to be hitting pretty hard, and Mahdga, you can't shake the feeling that you can hear something in the wind. It almost sounds like angry singing, which you think is ridiculous. Think if you want a reference point, think of the Lord of the Rings with that one scene on the mountain where you could barely hear voices. You can hear that, but no one else seems to hear this. And it sounds just like angry sing-song noises that you're hearing, which is weird all on its own.
I'll nudge Shale because he's with me, and I'll hey, Shale, do you hear that? Do you hear anything?
Shale will cock his head, probably tilted a bit like a dog, side to side.
You do not hear anything. And you hear the torrential rains, the sound of, you guys are in a covered wagon, so basically like a canvas top, and there's a few like drips coming through because it's really, at the end of the day, it's just treated cloth. And you hear it just beating on the outside of this, and you hear every once in a while the of thunder streaking across the thunder lightning streaking across the sky, but you don't hear anything outside of that.
So I'm gonna. Wouldn't it be safe to assume that Nem and Jhin are anywhere near me at all, like in speaking distance?
Jhin would be outside. Nem,
Okay.
would you be riding in the same cart as them, or would you be in a different wagon?
She'd probably be in the same wagon, but she leaves every so often to stretch her feet and just kind of walk behind and then dry off in the wagon. So she might be in there, yeah.
Okay, sure. So we'll say you're in there.
Okay, so I'll just sort of nudge Nem, and I'll say, Nem, I can't explain it. I feel like we need to be on alert. I swear I hear something. I heard something in the wind. It's not the thunder. I heard something other than the thunder in the wind. I'm not sure what it is. I just feel like we should be alert.
Like a whistling or?
Almost like a singing? I know that sounds crazy, but I'm not one for dramatics. I'm telling you, we need to be on alert.
So, Nem, much like what I had said to Jhin, you would have not so much a reverence, but you know that the witches of the barbarian tribes, they're like the spiritual guides. So it's not uncommon that they hear or see weird things or omens or whatever. So you're not sure if she's a crazy person or if she really sees a bad omen or hears a bad omen, because no one really understands, none of the barbarians really understand how witches work.
Yeah. Nem will... Are you eating a fucking sandwich? Sorry. Nem will... Oh, God damn it. Nem will look to her and say, I don't think you're crazy. I think that, witches have their own ways. Hunters have their own ways. And she'll look to Shale. Ogres probably have their own ways.
And you see him out of the back of the cart, just soaked, and has ogre face on as he...
Yeah, he doesn't look happy about being in there. He's just used to it.
Can she heal him again in the beginning of the day since it's a new day?
Sure.
Can I heal him while in the wagon, just reaching out while he's trailing behind me?
Like he can put his arm in while walking, and his arm's the one that's kind of torn up.
Okay, so she's going to heal him while still talking to Mahdga. I don't think it's strange at all. I think if you're hearing something, then we should be alert.
If I peek my head sort of out of the cart, can I see Jhin?
Sure.
Yeah, another 3, Shale.
Thank you.
So I'll just kind of holler out of the back of the cart. Jhin.
Yes.
Motion for him to if he can speed up and get closer to us.
Mm-hmm.
I would have dismounted Shiva by now, but I will jog over.
You have it tethered to the side of one of the wagons, I assume.
Yeah.
To canter beside you guys.
Can I help him into the
Sure.
wagon?
Yeah,
with
you
us?
reach your hand out, he comes right up.
Okay. That felt real gross, by the way. Anyway, so I get him in the wagon, and I'll tell him the same thing that I told Nem, just that I feel like we need to be on alert. I definitely hear things in the wind that sound, not natural. You can choose to believe it or not, but I'm telling you there's something there, and we need to be ready.
Well, while I am not keen on the supernatural, ignoring it does no good to anyone. I will take your word.
And I'll sort of listen again, and so can I still hear the singing?
Yeah, you hear it nonstop, but it's like barely there.
So it's not getting louder or anything.
Nope.
It's just.
Nope. It's like on the very fringes of your hearing that you hear this slight, you hear the noises of the rain and the storm and the thunder and the lightning, and you hear like the tires, the wheels just like hitting rocks, and you hear like the of the horse's feet getting stuck in mud. You hear the "yeah" of the caravan master, but just so subtle in the back of your mind, you hear this like lilting noise kind of weaving through everything, and it sounds as angry as the storm.
Well, I mean, I've alerted everyone, so now I'll sit there alerted and be real uncomfortable.
Okay. It's not long after this short meeting that you hear the telltale noises of Argasto stopping the caravan. And he goes through the motions of kind of like getting down off of his horse and wagon, and like you hear the of his boots as he's ordering the wagons to form a corral to protect against the storm, and that this is where we're going to stop because it's getting harder and harder to carry on any further in this torrential rain. The horses are going slower, the road is getting muddier. He thinks that it will be easier to wait the storm out and approach in the morning, or to pick up the trail in the morning. You see most of the caravan drivers or the wagon drivers go out and they're like throwing blankets over the interior components of their stuff, and they're like they have like basically like bars of soap, but it's bars of
Enjoy
wax,
your
as they're
stay.
like rubbing the bars of wax on internal places inside of the canvas to try to shore up any small pinprick holes so that things don't flood in over the night. You see them rubbing down the side. You see them trying to bar their horses. They have like wraps are like going out between the wagons as much as they can to try to keep the horses dry as they're trying to brush them down. Jhin, you're able to put Sheba into one of these. Or like pull one off the side of a cart, like attach it to something. You're able to find shelter for Sheba in some way, but you know this is going to be a shitty night. In fact, all of you know you've been out in the woods. Jhin, you've been on small nightly missions. Nem and Mahdga and Shale, you know more often that like in the barbarian camps that these nights are hard, and most people just spend the night in their tent, cave, house, whatever they have where they are, and wait these out because they're fucking awful. Do you guys all kind of cram into the same wagon or tent or something of that
I
kind?
would ask them to stay near us at least, so that we're all in the same place at the ready.
Shale can't fit in it, right?
No,
Okay.
but again, just like the cover for Sheba, you guys are able to make a makeshift thing for him.
Yeah, so Nem, are there any like downed trees near us or like a log or something that he could maybe sleep on to not be on the wet ground over under this thing off the carriage?
Sure. I'm sure Shale fends for
So-
himself and like fells
Yeah.
a tree.
Yeah,
and drags
Nem
it
would
over.
go help him though, or maybe point at a tree and help after healing him,
Yeah.
and then just kind of looking to Mahdga to see if it's okay. She would pull he's probably cold and wet from just walking around outside.
Yep.
She would pull out her rock and just kind of look to Shale like, is this okay? And give him the stone and just let him hold it for a little bit to warm his hands.
Sure.
And just sit in the back of the carriage with the thing so she's not getting wet.
I imagine he'd probably look at me freaked out, like, what the fuck do I do with
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. At first, he wouldn't know how to deal with this. This girl is kind to him, and it's not something he's used to. But while she helped him like prepare his area, he'd probably make awkward conversation.
Like what?
Just real simple things like trust in Mahdga. She knows.
Any good witch does.
You can trust. Thank you.
And I'll chime in. You can also trust me, and smile.
Fuck off, Jhin. And she'll just go back to talking to Shale.
There
like
there
making sure
will
he's
be
warm.
a glare from Shale at that.
I assume,
Yeah, we all just glare at him at the same
I assume
time.
Shin is essentially doing what Nem is doing to Shale, but to his horse, and he's like brushing the horse down, and like keeping the horse, and then pokes his head out and says, "And me," and then continues to brush Sheba.
She just gives him a look and continues, and then eventually takes the rock back and tucks into a safe spot once his hands are warm.
So the rock, as soon as you clasp it, it's maybe the size of like an egg, and it feels warm to the touch, and you can feel the warmth kind of like radiate through you. It's almost as if you're like, not quite the intensity of sitting in front of a fire, but it's that same effect where like you're sitting in front of the fire, your hands get warm first, and you can kind of feel the warmth going up the rest of your body, and you're like, okay, this isn't so bad. But as you hold it, as opposed to like holding one of those like hand warmer things, it kind of warms the rest of you as well. Like a hot cocoa, but from the hands up.
Like a shot.
But from the hands up, yeah. So yeah, the caravan drivers cover all this stuff. You guys have a long, wet and cold night, kind of huddled in this thing. In fact, Nem, if you, I assume you're much more careful, but if you leave the stone out between you guys in the caravan, it will actually warm up this thing like a warmer in the tent.
Yeah, once she got it back from Shale, she would probably hold her hand out to Mahdga if she wanted to, and just hold it together with her. So it would just sit in their hands, and I guess it would do the same thing. She wants to hold it close to her,
Yeah.
just because of what happened, but she would let it
Yep.
warm everyone up.
Yeah, so Jhin, you climb in there. Mahdga, Nem, you're in there. The night passes. Everyone heals 1 HP. In the future, I will just say the night passes and you guys are on your own to remember stuff.
Is it possible during the night at all before we head to sleep, could I get Nem, who is a skilled surgeon, I'm assuming, and I'm, kind of okay with this stuff, could I get her to help me sort of sew this light armor into some sort of thing that we could put onto Shale for armor, just like the light armor that we picked up? Is that something we could roll for, maybe?
Nem, roll Medicus.
Okay. I could also argue that, and I'll roll it. I could also argue that I took the hides from all the wolves we got and cut it into leather strips, or strips of fur, and used it as like a, something.
Also, I wasn't paying attention. When you heal with Medicus, you have to roll Medicus. You have to succeed at the cunning test to heal them 1d6. In the future, we'll remember that.
Okay.
For now, roll Medicus to see if you can help sew this thing up. Yeah. Mahdga, roll cunning.
Oh, man. I mean, but she passed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Nem, you see Mahdga is doing her best to help you, but sewing isn't typically one of the witches' jobs. Usually other people help them out with that kind of thing. A lot of people sort of wait on the witches or just give them complete things. So you see her struggling through it, and you're like, "Oh, you're doing a great job," and you sort of are much better at it. But you do have the reverence that she is a witch, and from a barbarian tribe. So you're shit. Just give me the whole thing. You sort of help her through it.
Yeah, she would take the rations of one or two of the wolves that she had that she kind of kept, and give it to Mahdga to divvy out while she just quickly tries to do it without making her feel bad.
You fix the parts where she was sewing. You do make
I just gut it and do the whole thing.
Yeah, you do make progress. It's going to take a few more of those rolls, but you do make progress with it. So the night passes. When the morning comes, the storm sort of subdues. It's still dark. When you wake up, it's still almost nighttime. The gray clouds kind of blot out the rising sun, but the rain has settled down to just a dull roar. It's like a what you would expect to be a spring rain, not whatever the hell that was. But judging by once Jhin, I'm sure you were probably the first one to move around outside. And as soon as you plop down to deal with Sheba, you sink into mud, and you see that the wheels on the wagons have sunk in a few inches, and this is going to be either you're going to be waiting here a few more days until the sun sort of soaks this back up, or you guys are going to be going real slow and pushing these wagons out of mud holes. And as you kind of step out and you begin looking around and sort of dressing Sheba, you see that Argasto is on his side of the circle, basically where the lead wagon is, and he is talking animatedly to the other wagon drivers. It looks like he's reached the same conclusion you have, except far more angry about it. Is there anything you do?
There's really nowhere I could put Sheba so that she can at least lay or relax?
Not really. I mean, there's mud everywhere, and you really can't get your horse. I mean, you might be able to get your horse into a wagon if Shale helps you out, but I don't think that Sheba would enjoy any part of that at all.
Yeah.
Being picked up by an ogre. And hell, I don't think Shale wants to do it, to be honest, looking at him. So the best you could do is maybe take the tarp that's over her or find another one and put it under her. But judging by how many tarps are out protecting the other horses and the fact the other horses are still even just tethered to their wagon bridles, that the rest of the wagoneers, they're of the same mind that there's not really much they can do. And as you're kind of looking around to figure out how to facilitate easing the burden on your horse, you see out of your periffs, one of the wagon drivers shoves one of the other wagon drivers, and the voices begin to rise as a pushing match begins at where Argasto is. And as you're kind of looking at it, you hear that these voices getting louder and louder. There are a distinct group of people that want to push on and a distinct group of people that want to stay here and let things settle down so they don't break a spoke or injure a horse or something like that.
So me having been I've had Sheba for a while, I've taken care of her. I was a squire, so I had to take care of horses a decent bit. How dangerous is it for a horse to push on in this? In what the current condition is?
In the current condition, it's going to be very slow going. And if so for you, it'll be probably fine because you have an unbridled horse. The other horses are tethered to their small range of motion inside the wagon, inside their yokes. So you know that if a horse were to stumble, you would be able to right the reins and fix Sheba out of this. But the horses in the yokes, less so. They would stumble and they would hit the yoke, and you could bust the yoke. It could pull the wagon and break a spoke. You could injure the horse itself.
I thought you were gonna go Dr. Seuss on me for a second.
Nope. Those are just two things that rhyme with wagons. The horses could choke.
She's sitting drinking a flagon.
Yeah, but so you know that caravan-wise, it's more dangerous than you and Sheba alone. But you think you could push on. You know, it's a 50-50 shot of something bad happening.
Yeah, but the 50-50 isn't great for somebody who cares about horses.
Right.
I'll walk over there. Halberd kind of... I guess, where do I keep it when I'm not using it? Is it like...
I assume like in the wagon. I mean, it's a long... It's
Yeah.
taller than you. Like it's like the guards would have this pike kind of thing out. So like it probably wouldn't even be on your back when you're either
Right.
holding it or you like slide it along a wagon or like you lean
So-
it up against a wagon or something.
So it's safe to say I might have like a dagger or something, right?
Yeah. You have like a small boot knife. That
Yeah.
doesn't do much.
Yeah, so I'll walk over, obviously nothing drawn, and see if I can get in between the two men who are having a shoving match.
You do. So Shale, you're awoken, I assume, when you hear Jhin flop out of the thing. Whether you arise and do anything, that's up to you. Mahdga and Nem, you begin to hear those shouts. And if any of you poke your head out, you would see that Jhin is walking towards the direction of the shouts. Jhin, as you walk in to like break up the fight, you see that Argasto looks just tired. He looks like this is the last thing he needs right now. Is half of the wagon masters to be like, push out, we'll stay. He needs a decisive answer, and he's of the idea that wants to stay. And as you begin to walk over and say whatever you want to say, and like sort of push the men apart, you hear a vaguely familiar voice from behind you. You identify it as Telk. You hear him say out loud. He shouts, and Mahdga and Nem, you hear this too. Shale as well. You hear, elves. I think elves are approaching. And you turn to see, and out of the forest on your right, on your left, are two figures walking towards the circle of caravans.
Nina's going to look to Mahdga, put everything back in her bag, ready her crossbow, and then look at Mahdga like,
Jhin will immediately
Get
divert
out.
his walk and raise his hands as he walks towards them.
Okay.
Hail, elves!
So you see two elves kind of walking towards you, and they're in tighter leathers, not ornate. This isn't like Lord of the Rings. This is like, they are fierce warrior elves. You see that they have various arms and armor across their body. They have leather that kind of like goes in like layered pieces down their arms. And you see like the wicked, jagged points of their arrows sticking out the back of them. One of them has his hair tied back, just tied back, not like braided ornately, tied back. And you can see they've been in the woods for a while. They look belabored. They walk out to you, and one of them meets your hail and puts a hand up. And
Is there an
continues
Ambrian
walking towards you.
handshake that like has been established? Like, is it like the Roman handshake?
There might be, but it would be with like the elves that exist in the cities, and you have no way of knowing that these elves know that or are from a city. You could attempt it, and they may respond however they may respond, but you're not really sure.
Is there a elf greeting that I know of?
I don't think so. I don't think you would have too many interactions with that. Given your knightly status and the missions you've been on, I don't think you have any direct interaction with elves.
All right, that's fair. But I know as a noble how to conduct myself
As a noble, yes. Yep.
So I'll put up. He returns the hail, and I'll put my hands down, but obviously nowhere near any bandoliers or anything like that. And I just did frags. And I'll say, what brings you to our humble caravan, dear allies?
He continues walking towards you, and like Argasto looks to you like, "What are you doing?" The rest of the caravan drivers stop they're fighting, and they just watch whatever you've just done. You see them walk over, and he says, "Hello, my friend. This is..." and you can see, like, it's broken, kind of the way he's speaking to you. "My name is Gudrai, and this is Sarenrae."
Sodomy?
Sarenrae.
No, I didn't say that in character. That was like, I'm writing it down right now. Gudrai and Sodom.
Sarenrae.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Gudrai and Sarenrae. He looks to you and says, "I want the ones called Belen and Ludo."
Oh, yes. We have already corralled them, put them under our control, and I have actually branded them as trespassers, but yes, you shall have them.
Yes.
And I look back. Do I see Shale?
Sure.
Yeah, he's probably not far behind you, but not close enough to be threatening.
Shale, if I might so impose on you, could you please fetch somebody or help me fetch Ludo and Bellum? Friend. And he's like trying really hard to like not put you out.
Shale will nod, turn back to look at Mahdga, and then go about to seeing to corralling these two.
Okay. As you begin to like move off, the elves continue their proclamation. It seems as though they were going to say what they wanted to say, no matter what you said. And he kind of like, he addresses the whole caravan. It says, "The men you call Belen and Ludo, they have violated the treatises and have tunneled deep into the soil of Davokar. They are blight-stricken and must be purged."
Indeed. I have labeled them as such. What do you mean purged?
"They will be blooded, killed. We will take them."
Is Prios's law as such that Ambrians have to pass judgment? Or would he know that this is an elf matter?
I mean, column A, column B. So, like, they've broken Ambrian law by breaking the pact that the Ambrians had with the elves. But the elves carry their own justice, so it depends on where your loyalties lie. Do you want to stick to your Ambrian truths and be like, okay, no, this was an Ambrian problem, we'll deal with it, as they are Ambrians, or you can turn them over and deal with it, let the elves deal with it. This is entirely a moral choice for Jhin.
While this is all going on, Nem is going to put her bow, as she hears, "Yeah, we'll give him over," like that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to put her bow down, take off her boots so that she doesn't get mud in all because she's teeny tiny.
Yep.
And hop out of the back after hearing the of walking through the mud. She'll jump out, and also in the same manner of like putting her hands up because she would know not to just sneak up on people typically, and just look over to just watch. She just wants to be there in case anything goes wrong. Her crossbow's right on the edge, and she's standing outside the caravan to see what's happening.
I think Jhin knows well enough that. So, what he's heard about elves, do they generally travel in war bands?
You haven't heard anything. Some elves pop up as a single person. Sometimes they pop up as a group of people. Sometimes just two. Sometimes three. It's so rare that they're seen that there's no statistics on how they travel. Usually, if you encounter, so like you've heard adventurers or tales of adventurers that have encountered, and this would apply for Mahdga and Nem as well, that have encountered elves in the forest, and that always goes badly. As far as interacting outside of the forest, it's completely random.
I think I would know well enough that as much as I want to pass judgment, I'm not the one passing the judgment. This is more like, he wronged the elves. That's the pact. While, like you said, column A, column B.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not completely dumb where I'm prideful in that manner. So I would just kind of nod at the talk of being blooded and just say, as it were.
Cool. I need to look at the abilities here. I need Shale to make me, I want to say, a strong check.
Okay. just at 0?
No.
No.
A strong check at...
Plus 18?
Not that one. A strong check at -5.
Mike, I'll kill you.
It sounds like he'll kill me. Yep.
So,
Yep.
we'll say that for later. Yes, Mahdga, the answer is yes. They don't really care who you are. No one knows why you exist, except maybe the elves, and no one's asked them, or they haven't responded. So your race doesn't really matter. They may look more positively on Shale or a goblin, mostly Shale, because both of those are what's considered elder races here, and it's rumored, that some of the other members of the elder races work with the elves to do what the elves do. Seeing Shale here with the rest of the Ambrians and you guys sort of negates that a little bit, but they may have more faith in him. But, it's not every ogre that's a smart ogre, unfortunately. So you see the elf look to you, Jhin. That was quick. Well, great. And he looks over to where Shale is. Shale, I assume you're walking towards one of the carriages that these two are in to retrieve them. And as everyone's eyes kind of follow the elves to Shale, you see Shale is thrown back about 10 feet and then hits the ground and sort of slides into the mud as you hear, "No! We won't go!" And tearing through one of the caravans was Bellin, as you see that he is distorting and his muscles and ribs are just cracking and bulging as pieces of his skin are tearing off and exposed bone and muscle tissue and his head is deforming and horns are sprouting out of the side of his head, and he and he's growing in size to about the size of Shale, but he's deformed. One arm is longer than the other arm remains the same size but just bulging, and he's making his way towards Jhin and the elves, and that is where we'll end tonight's session.
Balls.
I didn't realize it was 11.
Sweetie, you wanted to know what happens when you become an abomination.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Surprise! Something like that.
I have to be careful with my spells.
Something like that happens when you become an abomination. So, guys,
think of what I could do with that arm, though.
Yeah.
Stick to your stick.
So, guys, that was episode 2. That was episode 2 of Symbaroum, Nature versus Nurture. You guys met elves. You guys saw someone shape change. You saw an abomination. It's been a long day for you guys. So let's go around the cast and crew, do our introductions, and hear about what you thought about this game. We'll go with Shale, who just got knocked on his ass. Bitters, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of your second foray into Symbaroum?
I'm Mr. Bitters. I hate most things. My second foray into Symbaroum was pretty great. I like my character. I kind of trying to figure out what this group's all about. But as for the things we've come across today, I feel like I've seen some shit. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Guys, you haven't even made it into the forest. You can't.
Yeah.
You'll never know what I have coming for you there.
God help us.
So, Mr. Ninja, you had a great time episode 1. You didn't get hit at all. You did a lot of shooting. This time, you didn't get hit at all and didn't do a lot of shooting. So who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think about today?
I'm Xmas Ginger Ninja. I run a gaming channel. I think tonight was interesting. I didn't really do much. I'll do my healy things, and then I hide from enemies.
And I avoid the bad guys.
I'll help you guys once you're done. Do it the shooty shoots and the stabs.
You are the best cleric we have in the group. Hello, sweetie. You got into melee combat today. It was as effective as Nem's ranged combat, but you did it. You got in there. So for your second foray, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of tonight?
I am Hello Sweetie 82. I am awkward on the internet. And I thought it was awesome. I am real fucking scared about, we almost die. Like every episode, I feel like someone almost dies.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know that you've always wanted to get frisky with people in the forest, so I'm assuming that is what you have planned.
I mean, really, that's the most railroady part of this system is, like, you can do adventures other places. They actually have, like, a few of them, but, like, the whole thing is in the forest. Like, so if you build characters that don't want to go in there, you're going to get pushed there eventually. Like, something's going to make you go that way. Because it gets real boring in the settled lands. Like, you fight bandits and, like, your normal fantasy stuff and, like, a bear or something. But, like, if you're doing dungeon delving and you want to see some dark shit, everything's in the forest. And it's going to be...
So what you're saying is we should just live here now?
You should just stay in the caravan right here and never move this one location. Give over Belen and Ludo, fight this abomination, try to live, and then just stay here.
It seems like the elves' problem at this point.
That's what I'm saying.
Sure. It seems like someone wants to not be killed and or arrested and will kill whoever wants to do that.
It just seems like the elves should at least be helping, is all we're saying, you know?
Yeah, the elves will totally help. Until I knock them out and make it your problem.
And we're pegged for their murder, too.
Yeah.
Wagon full of dead elves.
So, as the person who is everyone's problem, Kyle, who are you, what are you doing here, and what did you think of your second trip to Symbaroum?
I'm Kyle. I don't really do social media, so don't follow me anywhere aside from here on unMadeGaming. And I do a game that is reaching its climax on Hello Swedish channel tomorrow. Might have been the wrong words, but I'm going to stick with it. So Hello Sweetie 82, go over to her channel tomorrow, or this channel occasionally whenever I'm popping up because my beautiful face. I like playing a douchebag because I feel at home.
It's fun. I also enjoy it, and I do it all the time on most other people's channels. Sometimes my own channel. So what do you think of your second trip here, besides being a douchebag?
I'm enjoying it. I'm living the dream. I'm riding a horse with a lance and lancing people, not boils. I'm making friends with an ogre.
It's true. I'm letting you live it up on your horse before I either kill it or take it away.
Yeah, no. If you kill the horse, I quit.
One of those are happening. It's your
take
call.
It away. You take it away as long as I get to go back and visit it occasionally.
Game of Thrones like the dragon.
It's great.
I swear to God, don't give him ideas. I will fucking...
You can always visit a grave. And with that, we're going to go rate our friend Not So Speedruns, who's currently doing like a fun community night with Jackbox Games, I believe. He is an awesome caster, a good friend of mine, and he runs one of the sister crews of 6 and 20 on Thursday night. So go check him out. Give him all your hot, sticky raid love. And from all of us to you guys, bye-bye.